Hello and welcome to the Edward T. Barry Ice Rink for the 2018-2019 opener for both your UMass Boston Beacons and the Stevenson University Mustangs. The sixth time in 7 years these two programs have met in non-conference play. My name is Seth Orensky, joined by Matt Meisenbacher. And Matt, a new season and some new storylines. It starts for UMass Boston with a new head coach. Dom Losey takes over for Lindsey Berman, who was the NEHC Coach of the Year a year ago, but got a job offer she just couldn't refuse, going back to the old alma mater just down the street at Northeastern. Losey, though, is a coach the players have raved about thus far. A lot of Division III experience, a player at Bowdoin, a former assistant at Trinity and Bowdoin, a player who knows these Beacons well. She had good things to say about them. The Beacons have good things to say about her. Seems like it's been a pretty easy transition for a Beacons group that has high expectations and aspirations for this season.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think the obvious factor is anytime a new head coach comes in, you're learning new chemistry, new line matchups, and new systems. But the one thing I want to highlight, anytime you get a new coach, it's new communication. These girls are used to Coach Berman, and each coach has just a different style in terms of the way they communicate. Also, as a player, how you go to coach with maybe issues you're having or problems that exist within yourself or within the team. And there's obviously anytime you deal with a new coach, it's new communication. So it'll be very interesting as this game develops tonight. Have they gone over not just the systems and the chemistry, but ways in which to communicate what they're seeing and what they're not seeing? And I think, like you said, based on the experience, Losey should be able to navigate those waters pretty effectively.
Well, the Beacons do have a couple of benefits on their side. Alexander Carlis, the assistant coach, comes through with a second regime, so that'll help a little bit. And obviously this Beacons team has had some success with interim head coaches before. Lindsey Berman took over 4 seasons ago. She was interim coach. The Beacons won their first ever NEHC tournament championship. Right now, let's hear from Dom Losey. I had a chance to talk to her yesterday about preseason, about this matchup, and then we'll get more of our Beacons Broadcast Network pregame.
Coach, the last time we talked, you were still a couple of weeks away from your first preseason. What's been your biggest takeaways of working with this group, but also being a head coach for the first time during a preseason?
I mean, I've definitely learned something new every day, and it's been so exciting to be on the ice with them this early especially, and I was really impressed with the work they've done in the preseason and how that put us at a great starting point come October 8th, and we've just been trying to keep raising the level every day and try to mimic a lot of that competition and execution, especially under pressure situations that you face in a game at practice as best as possible.
You got to shift over one seat to that head job against Becker, maybe giving yourself a chance to go through it once before the first real game. What were you able to take away? I know that maybe the competition level wasn't where you wanted it to be from the opposition, but able to put away a team and get to see some of those situational plays against a different side.
Yeah, it was awesome to have a little practice test before the real one this weekend, and it was great for us to run through some system stuff, some special teams, and really see what we needed to work on this week at practice. It was great to have everyone play and just get out there, get the nerves out, so that hopefully Friday we're ready to go from the drop of the puck.
Speaking of Friday, Stevenson, a competitive game last year, a 1-1 tie. They're coming all the way up from Maryland, so it should be a fun non-conference matchup. What's your big focus going into this one? Maybe not this is the player you need to stop, but what you want to see out of your team in your regular season opener.
Yeah, well, with it being the first game of the season, we don't know much about each other, which is great. Then we can just focus on ourselves and stick to our game plan. We've been trying to be an aggressive team and really go hard at practice, and we want to carry that over into this weekend. So I'm excited to see where we're at and keep pushing that level.
And then how do you attack these first 2 games? Stevenson and then Endicott, a couple games in a short span, but also 2 non-conference games before you open conference play next weekend.
It's great to start with non-conference. It always is a nice. I mean, they count, but they're really nice tests before we get into conference play, and they're going to be 2 challenging games. So we just plan to go hard, and we've been really focusing on thinking about ourselves, sticking to our own game plan, and not worrying about the opposition. We feel like if we execute the way we know we can, that we'll be successful against anyone.
On a personal note, tomorrow's your first game as a head coach with an actual result that matters. What's going to be the moment where it really sinks in that this time you're the head coach and that this time it matters?
Thanks for the reminder. I think that we've been with each other. This group's been together for a few weeks. That, I mean, I think in the same way that hopefully they're not nervous for the first game, I'm not either, and I feel really confident in our abilities, and I'm just more excited than anything.
Thanks so much for your time, Coach.
You just heard from UMass Boston interim coach Dom Losey taking over for Lindsey Berman, who took the job at Northeastern as an assistant coach. Matt, real quick, let's take a look at our goalie matchup graphic. Rachel Mayette graduates. We thought Alyssa DePippo would get the start despite the Beacons bringing the reigning NEHC goalie of the year, Katie Flagg, a UNE transfer. Annika Carlander might be an even bigger surprise. The third stringer a year ago, played in just 2 games for the Mustangs. Today, she gets the start over the player we saw last year, Annie Smith-Hammond, and last year's main starter, Katie DeRosa.
Yeah, can't speak too much to Stevenson. Obviously, our scouting reports only go so far, but definitely an interesting tidbit there, Seth. And I think DePippo deserves it. You know, she's been in the wing for a long time now, and really for a while challenged Mayette. Mayette, a fantastic goaltender, transferred from Quinnipiac, but DePippo, you know, I'll tell you what, every time she got in there, she really gave it her all, and her numbers speak for themselves. I mean, take a look at what she was able to post, a 91.8 and a 1.78. And I'll tell you what, any coach will look at those numbers and tell you, hey, we got to at least give this girl a shot, and I think we'll expect big things from her this season.
First goalie in program history to go through a season unbeaten. Take a look at a couple keys to the game. Be more consistent and precise in the neutral zone. That came straight from Dom Losey. Get traffic in front of the net. That's one of her big keys. And try to jump on Stevenson early. Matt, this is a 7-hour drive from Owings Mill, Maryland.
Yeah.
It's one they'll do a lot this season, 3 times coming up to Mass. But it's difficult with that first bus ride of the year.
And it's funny, a pretty big rival for UMass Boston, despite them being a non-conference opponent. I feel like they play each other hard each and every time.
3-1-1 all-time. Last season, the Beacons tied Stevenson, a goal from Ariel Galucci, just the second of her collegiate career. So the Beacons tied it with 6 minutes to go. It was a high shot game with 43 shots for Stevenson, 38 for the Beacons. UMass Boston in their brand new uniforms picked them up about 2 hours ago. So the pass goes right in front of net, all the way over for Jane Morrisette. Beacons top line of Morrisette, the freshman Felliers, and Erica Lund. It's Morrisette turning in the circle, sending it on net, and that puck nearly trickled through the 5-hole of Carlander.
I like that play by Morrisette. Just get it towards the front of the net. You saw her coming off the wall there, called for the puck, got it. Didn't really have much to shoot and just kind of sent one towards the front. And I'll tell you what, that almost went home there, Seth.
A very good look from Jane Morrisette, an all-region selection, and the Beacons' leading scorer from a season ago, as we've got a icing waved off here. Stevenson in the road blacks with green and white. Stevenson last year got off to an 0-6-1 start, but then the next 3 months they lost just 1 game, finished the season with 7 losses, 5 of those coming against teams who finished in the top 5. Emily Harris drives the net, off the defenseman skate and in, and the Beacons take a 1-0 lead just a minute and 21 seconds into their season.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was about to say, you know, it's critical first game of the year here. You want to get everybody a shift, but the Beacons have come out flying. That top line really put a lot of pressure in the offensive zone. You see, crashed the net there. Emily Harris saw it. She had a little bit of a lane. We'll show you the replay here in a second. Had a little bit of a lane coming off the side of the net. I love when players, especially forwards, take it hard to the net, was able to tuck that off the defenseman skating in, and we'll show you the replay here, but the Beacons with an early 1-0 lead.
Edie Moritz comes on and sends a shot in on net. Moritz on the second line with Harris and freshman Kaylee Kozik. Beacons with a pair of freshmen on their top two lines. Both of them actually play with the same club team out in Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Elite. So good stuff thus far from the Beacons as they've had some success getting to the front of the net. It's Moritz all the way out to the blue line for Lizzie Saxer. Saxer tries to send it back down low. The Beacons pick it up. It's Kozik in the circle, sending it wide of net. Stevenson still hasn't created a real opportunity here in the first 2 minutes.
And I'll tell you what, you talked about the 7-hour bus ride there, Seth, and I don't care if you have the best warm-up routine in the league. Those bus legs are a real thing, and it takes you a couple shifts to work out that long bus ride. And you can see it here with Stevenson. Just Beacons really taking it to him as we'll get a whistle here. That one almost went in. They're crashing the net hard, and I'll tell you what, good on Coach Losey early and often driving this net hard. We'll bring in this replay here on the goal from Harris. Just take a look, folks. As she comes around towards the net, you're going to see 22 here, right north towards the near post. Now watch right here. That little move right there just gives her enough space to kind of put that off the defenseman skating in. And just a heads-up play by Harris to get that towards the net and make one extra move to create the scoring opportunity. Tucks it home to give the Beacons an early lead.
And I don't think Edie Moritz picked up an assist on the play, but she deserves a little bit of credit for the
Absolutely.
whole pick play,
Yeah.
creating space for Harris to drive towards the net. Chance here for Stevenson, and the shot is paddled away there by the stick of Alyssa DePippo, the Pittsburgh native. The Beacons will go the other way with the third line, Leffler, Beauregard, and the sophomore transfer, Kelsey Ryan, a Franklin Pierce transfer, one of two transfers on this Beacons roster. It's Bree Colucci, the other all-region selection on this Beacons team, right onto the tape of Leffler. Leaves it over for Ryan, and the Beacons will send out their fourth line for the first time today. As Stevenson, remember, 0-6-1 to start the year. Then they lost just one game over the next 3 months before losing in the United Collegiate Hockey Conference Championship game to Elmira College, a top 5 team in the country. Stevenson, though, did lose their top 2 scorers, 4 of their top 6, and 7 seniors who played in every game. So they have quite a few holes to fill in their lineup under Tracy Johnson, the 6th-year head coach out of Boston College. Stevenson trying to create something here with their top line. It's Nikki Kendrick, the very talented freshman, Sierra Sumasco, the captain, and Kellen Whitman, 2 of the team's top 3 returning scorers. Beacons' fourth line trying to dig out the puck and successfully doing so as Gallucci loses it right at her own blue line. That's Jordan Perello, junior out of Toms River, New Jersey. Perello still fighting for the puck. It's picked up by Gallucci, another New Jersey native, out past her own blue line, but not much further.
They'll be a little bit better on these outlet passes here. They've got to be on the tape. That first pass is so critical. You see another one there, not quite where it needs to be. Stevenson pressuring on the forecheck, and these Beacons got to be a little bit better on the passing. It looked good to start, but a little bit of pressure here, and they're starting to turn the puck over.
Jane Morrisette forced to turn over the blue line. Backhand shot goes just wide of the net. Carlander did not allow a goal as a freshman. 2 starts, 2 8-save shutouts against some of the bottom teams in their conference. Chance from distance, and the freshman Adamy goes just wide. One of 5 defensemen suited up today for UMass Boston with Jane Ann Drill not available. She's at a wedding. Shot from behind the net, and it nearly goes through. The look from what looked like Rachel Peacock, and the Beacons had a couple of smaller chances nearly go in as the Beacons try to put it in that crease and hope for good luck.
And we're noticing a theme here, Seth. A lot of work behind the net, and what's happening is they're turning the Stevenson players around. They're forced to turn around and look what's going on behind the net. They're losing their coverage in front of the net, and the Beacons are seeing a lot of success driving those pucks towards the front of the net. A couple close calls here could easily be more than 1-0 already.
Kozik holds off a player. Now Moritz looking in front for Harris, who has the lone goal here. Scored just 1 minute and 21 seconds into this season opener for both sides. Stevenson coming up all the way from Maryland, one of the furthest southern teams in the entire country. Alabama Huntsville, at the Division I level, certainly the farthest south, but not many go further than Stevenson in Maryland. It's controlled there by Kozik, stops along the red line, and now up top for Grace Fisher. Passes up the shot looking for Adamy. Adamy, a very talented defenseman out of Rochester, New York. Stevenson looking to break out, slowly doing so, and they'll get out of their own zone, at least for the moment. That was Allie Gibson with the clearance. It's Fisher trying to find Moritz. A little bit behind her, and the Beacons will have to retreat to their own zone. Bree Colucci with it. Back to the near side for Harris. Harris spent her freshman year at a Division I school, now in her 3rd season with the Beacons, looking for a big season after a slow junior year. Stepping forward and keeping that one is Kelsey Ryan, the Franklin Pierce transfer. Now the Beacons go up top for Colucci. To the near side for Colucci. Bree swerves and will bring it out of her own zone. Good pressure, but she draws the penalty. Way too much contact from Nikki Kendrick. And the Beacons will go on the power play for the first time. That was dangerous, what Colucci was doing, but it works out.
Yeah, I don't want to say she got away with one. Definitely some great defense initially there and forcing Colucci to pull that out of her own zone, which is something rare you don't see. Would have loved to seen her just kind of throw that one off the glass, get it deep, allow her forwards to get it. But, as you said, the contact there creates the penalty. Kendrick, no question, that's a hit. And in the women's game, can't have that. She's going to sit for 2. Beacons are going to go on the power play.
Kendrick, one of the 10 freshmen on this team. She's the most highly touted, picked on the UCHC watch list, one of just 2 freshmen outside of first-year program Nazareth. Backhand pass, a beauty from Leffler, shot to score. It took a deflection in front of the look from Morrisette, and we'll see which Beacon will get credit with the goal. Harris was there in front amongst 2 Stevenson players.
Yeah, I'm curious, Seth. A great play by Morrisette just to fire this one. She's got tons of time. And just kind of wires this one towards the net. It was fluttering. Not quite sure if it was redirected. I think Morissette's going to get credit for the goal as it stands right now, but I'll be curious on the announcement and on the replay. Let's take a look here. Just a nice little pass there, and I think that's Morissette's goal.
I think it is as well, and Harris isn't the one asking for the credit, so it's going to be Morrisette from Leffler on the beautiful backhand
We'll wait for the
feed.
announcement, I believe.
Well,
let's see
remember, the referee announcement is
true.
not necessarily the correct announcement. But Morissette's going to be credited with the goal. That was a beautiful play from Katie Leffler, who's another Beacon who's looking to take a step up in terms of her point production, as Leffler out there on the third line center today for UMass Boston.
And I'll tell you what, Seth, one of the things, we talked about the passing, but seems to be as that play is going to be offsides. Seems to be some natural chemistry here. I mean, we've got a good mixture. You look at the roster, you see a lot of seniors all the way down to freshmen. Every class represented pretty well on these lines. And you saw there, that's a tricky little play, just to kind of backhand a little touch pass back, trusting that Morrisette at the point was going to be there. And not only that, but Morrisette just to step into one, wire one towards the net. I like what I saw in the power play there.
Well, first power play of the season, you're 17 seconds in. This is not going to be nice. It's got to be a play they worked on, and it worked on it to perfection.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is, again, working it low. A lot of times this early in the season, there's a lack of awareness in terms of where the other players are on the ice. You're getting a feel, especially on the power play, of where other players like to set up and where they're going to be. And you saw there, not really the case. Just a nice little touch pass back to Morrisette off the backhand, and kind of something we might see more in December, January versus the first regular season game of the year.
Erica Lund in the Beacons top line out there. Lund, the spin shot, but it goes right off the skate of a Stevenson player. Now they try to break out. Don't have the speed to catch the Beacons on the counter, and it's Saxer looking for Morrisette up the line for Lund, and the Beacons trying to catch Stevenson in the midst of a change. Lund tees up a shot in and out of the glove, and then chasing it down and nearly picking it up was a Beacon, as Carlender's well outside of her net, can't pick it up, and the Beacon centering feed nearly finds the stick of Ellie Fellerius, who's out there as the top line center for UMass Boston.
Paige Sullivan there, 28. Puck on top of your net there. You're better off just leaving it. Let the Beacons try to get it. Take the whistle.
Harris all the way to the near side, and she'll send it down low for Fellerius, who sends it off the back of the cage as the Beacons are in the midst of a change. Chance for Stevenson to get out, but a nice job pinning it along the boards by Anime. Casey, can she hold on to it? Can't quite keep it, and the Beacons have to wait. So that would have been offside, but Stevenson will give them a gift, sending an icing, and the Beacons will go right back down the other end. Matt, we talked about the goaltending a little bit. If you're Tracy Johnson, you have 2 players who have a lot more experience.
Yeah.
Annika Carlender, she hasn't been bad here, but she has given up 2 goals in the first 7 minutes. Do you think about a potential goalie change? Maybe not because of how your goalie's faring, but maybe just trying to change the momentum of this game, either here in the period or potentially during that first intermission with DeRosa and Smith-Hammond having a lot of experience.
Yeah, you look at the roster for Stevenson, a lot of freshmen out there, and I think you got to give your goaltender the benefit of the doubt. She hasn't given up anything soft yet, and like you said, you do use that as a spark from time to time. With 11 minutes to go here in the period, I would tell you what, with 2, I would say no. If they get it to 3 or more, I think you got to consider it.
Beacons behind the net, still pressuring. It's that second line of Kozik, Moritz, and Ryan's actually out there from the third line. As Galucci steps forward and will push it back in. The Beacons will send 2 players off. Stevenson, though, unable to get it out as Saxer was right along the blue line. Saxer that's Ryan, and Ryan sends it just wide of the net. Galucci stepping forward. This has been a tilted ice here in the first period. The Beacons not only with the 2 goals, but most of the chances, and we get our second icing in as many attempted clearances. Stevenson right now does not have their footing in this game.
No, and without question, I think the Beacons, I did not expect them to come out flying like this. Now, I'll tell you this much, Seth, being a former goaltender myself, tough on DePippo, okay, because you're now about halfway through the period. Are we going to give the one that went off her stick? She didn't really even have to move. Are we going to give her credit for a shot on goal? Maybe. I guess yes, but really hasn't been tested. Tough as a goaltender to keep your muscles warm and to stay mentally involved in the game when you haven't faced any rubber.
Katie Leffler already has an assist in the period, was holding off a couple of players, finally picked away by Stevenson, and on the outlet pass, they'll get it out of their own zone, but this would be an icing as a player tumbles down. It's going to go over the line, but they'll wave off the icing as it's picked up by Adamy. Now, the good thing for DePippo is she has a little bit of experience with this. Just last weekend, she played the first period against Becker, did not see a shot, but stayed warm, made a couple of times where she came out of her own net to pick up the puck and find a teammate. Beacons defeated Becker 7-1 last Saturday with 6 different players scoring as Beacons are offside, and then wiping out a Stevenson player was Sarah King, who went down, lost an edge, and getting up slowly right now for Stevenson is Trinity Barkless, the reigning Middle Atlantic Conference Rookie of the Year.
And you said it, Seth. You know, some goaltenders will really tell you they prefer to see more shots than not. They get into a groove and you kind of get a feel for the game, a feel for the puck. What's difficult is when you're not seeing a lot of rubber, staying involved, because all of a sudden you get called upon, you're faced with a breakaway, and you're expected to be there.
Fisher just across the midway line, but loses it, and Adamy will have to retreat into her own zone. Beacons with the 4th line out there of Janessa Hernandez, Sarah King, and Rachel Peacock. The lone Beacons line that doesn't have a freshman on it, but a pair of sophomores and a junior who are all looking to pick up their point production this season after slow seasons a year ago. King had 4 points in the first 4 games, did not record another point in a season when she played pretty much every game. Janessa Hernandez out in front, looking for Peacock, who lost an edge, and her shot was lost amongst a couple of players before the Beacons finally found it. Stevenson controlling, that's Carly McGee, the top line left defenseman for the Mustangs. Did not really expect to see themselves down 2-0 just 7 minutes in, but Beacons with goals from Emily Harris and Jane Morrisette, 2 of their seniors. It's Morrisette across the midway line into the zone. Hard shot. Carliner can't collect the rebound, and Morrisette puts it in. She's got 2 in the opening 12 minutes, and that's the 3rd goal we talked about as maybe a difference maker on whether Carliner stays in.
That one's tough. Morrisette literally takes this from one corner of the ice all the way down to the other end, and she really, realistically said, maybe a stick check there along at center ice. Wasn't really touched. You're going to see on the replay what speed coming down, uses it to her advantage, then follows up her rebound. I mean, you got to help your goaltender out here. Morissette's going to pick you apart if you're going to allow that much time and space. She's a great goal scorer. She's proven it. You got to try to do something, force something one way or the other. You can't allow her to not only go end to end, but then get a second chance on her own rebound.
Well, Matt, Jane was part of our trivia question of the day. We'll get that in the 3rd period, but first a 2-on-1. It's Moritz with Kozik to the near side. Edie tries to find Kozik, and a great breakup there. That was Ali Sabatini averting disaster, at least for the moment, as Beacons were looking for their 4th in the first 12 minutes.
That's a big play. That's a big play there for Stevenson. Is pretty close to going up 4-0 there if that pass gets across. They need to answer. They need a good shift in the offensive zone here, Seth.
They haven't had a good shift in a while. It's Stevenson bringing it across, but they're in the midst of a change and being dragged down, not enough for a penalty, was Kellen Whitman, the 5th-year senior who had 10 goals a season ago got an offsides, and it will go the other way. UMass Boston with 2 early goals. They just added a third about a minute ago. 2 from Jane Morrisette, the opener from Emily Harris. And really, if you're Don Blosey, you could not have asked for a better start to the season.
Probably feels pretty good. Probably a little bit of nervous energy. New head coach with a new program coming into the game. You hope that you're well prepared and you have the girls ready. And now all of a sudden, first period, you got a 3-0 lead. A little bit of a sigh of relief, I would think. But that being said, keep the pedal to the metal. A lot of hockey to be played left.
Yeah, we've certainly seen teams get out to hot starts and find themselves in troubled waters late in the third period of games. Saxer, through a lot of traffic, it's pinged around by a couple of different players. We've got a penalty coming, and it's going to be on the Beacons. Kelsey Ryan there.
Yeah, no question. That's a hook.
And that gives Stevenson maybe the impetus they needed as Ryan, the Franklin Pierce transfer, goes to the box for the first time as a Beacon. And we'll see Stevenson go on the power play. They might have one shot thus far. We'll see if they can get a couple of looks as the Beacons find themselves down a player with 7:21 to go in the first period.
Yeah, coaches will talk about, we don't want to beat ourselves, and that's one there, a penalty going into the wall, and I understand what Ryan's trying to do there. She's trying to gain leverage and get to that 50-50 puck. Credit to her that, but you can't, once that stick goes parallel, gets into the midsection, it's a pretty easy call for the referee, and she'll sit for 2 as we'll see the Beacons penalty kill for the first time this year.
It's going to be Stevenson's top power play unit, Kendricks, Sumasco, and Whitman all out there for a Stevenson side that finds themselves down 3-0 here in the opening 12 minutes of their season. Had a really successful season a year ago, making it to the championship game of the UCHC and winning the initial MAC tournament. They're part of 2 different conferences, only one has an auto bid. But this year's team lost a lot of their top scorers, and right now they just don't quite look like they have the chemistry the Beacons have shown in the opening minutes. There's a backhand feed that goes off the skate of a Beacon, just short of the blue line. Picked up and sent in by Kendrick, who was called for the initial penalty that led to a Beacons goal on the power play by Morrisette.
Beacons just look faster than Stevenson, Seth, at this point. And I don't know, a little late in the first period, I don't know if you can blame the bus legs anymore. They just look faster. I mean, they're swarming the puck here. You see Stevenson with a tough time just even getting this in the zone. Got to try to get these pucks deep as Beacons are just swarming the puck carrier right now. And Stevenson not really even an answer. Forget about a shot on goal. Really challenged getting it in the zone to begin with.
Maddie Ricci for Perello couldn't quite handle the pass. Beacons will flip it out, but shy of center ice, and now they'll send it back to the near side. Working with it is Allison Barlow. Barlow behind the back feed for Perello, and the Beacons with another clearance down to 30 left on the man advantage.
Yeah, with 30 left on the power play, you reach a point, you just try to maybe fire one even at the goaltender's chest just to get a whistle in the zone and maybe try to win one set up there. As you can see, another turnover.
Beacons force the turnover. It's Beauregard, who's one of the Beacons' best players, whether it's the man up, the man down, or even strength. But she can't hold on to it. Down to 15 seconds to go. Coming with speed is Maddie Ricci, but she's slowed down by the opposing number 7, Morrisette. And the Beacons have effectively killed off this power play with down to 5. And now UMass Boston will chase. It's Morrisette already with 2 goals, looking for the opening night hat trick. She's got 45 minutes to go in this contest. Behind the net, it bounces around a couple of times. Morrisette trying to keep it alive for Harris, who's on. And it'll come out back towards the Beacons end where it's picked up by Fisher. Fisher turns, met by a second player for Stevenson. In a little bit of trouble, but she finds the tape of Lizzie Saxer, one junior defenseman to another. No shots on the power play for Stevenson. They're 0 for 1. The Beacons 1 for 1. Beauregard tries to find Harris just out of her reach. Picked up there, working with it is Brianna Crossing, who's listed as the 7th defenseman for Stevenson. Remember, one of the big NCAA rule changes was the addition of a 19 skater, and we're going to see a penalty on the Beacons. So it looked like there was a player taken down along the near side boards in a second straight power play for the Stevenson side.
This is the one, and it's funny with hockey, you're really dominating here in the period. 4:35 left, and you just kill one off. Now you force your penalty kill to get right back out there, and this is a golden opportunity. This is a huge face-off for Stevenson. They really do need to win this draw just to even get some momentum, get a shot on goal, see if they can win it. No, it's going to go all the way down, Seth, and just another opportunity here for Steven to climb. If they can get one, all of a sudden, a little bit of momentum might be able to climb back in this hockey game, but they got to work on this transition.
Emily Harris in the box, 2 minutes for roughing. As it's Sumasco with it, the captain and top line center trying to find a teammate, has Whitman, and we'll send it over to her. She tried to send it down low, slowed up by Leffler. It's out there with Moritz, the 2 forward. Shot gets tipped off the stick of Moritz. It was a good look from up top from Casey Stork. Didn't find its way on net, though, as Leffler has a chance to clear. Loses her edge, and it's kept in by Stork. Sent down low, working with it is Trinity Barkless, down to 1:15, but Stevenson's at least been able to set up in the offensive end. It'll be Whitman. Whitman, a centering feed that goes off Colucci. 52 seconds gone on the power play. Leffler takes a long time and unable to get the clearance. Stork down low for Whitman, wide open on the far side, and a big save from Alyssa DePippo. That was a good look by Carly McGee, but the Beacons somehow able to keep this 3-0.
Folks, I can't stress enough what a good save that is from DePippo. I'll tell you what, she's cold. 3 minutes left in the period. She's got to go laterally, set, and read that puck all the way in. Not only that, no rebound. Credit to her staying mentally in this game, as she's not faced much rubber at all here yet, but a good stop there, and she's probably going to need a couple more before the period's over.
DePippo, her first collegiate opening night start. She's gotten quite a few starts over the years as the backup to Rachel Mayette, but gets the start today as Morrisette will send an easy one on Carliner, who's also making her first opening night start. She was the third stringer a year ago for Stevenson. DePippo was the second stringer with Rachel Mayette graduating, gets the start tonight. That was maybe her second save, likely her first of the period. It was a good one to deny Carly McGee. Bringing it into the zone is Jordan Perello, but it comes back out, and Stevenson will have to touch up. It's McGee once again lost it for a moment. Good stick work from Beauregard. There's still 7 seconds left on the power play. Stevenson one last rush and knocking a player down. That's Saxter. It'll be first power play ends, and now we'll see another one as Harris and Saxter are going to change spots. That's 3 penalties in a row against the Beacons, and that one was probably the worst because it was so obvious and so needless.
Well, and really 2 out of the 3, I say, were very obvious penalties. That one for sure, Seth. And I'll tell you what, it has to be addressed by Coach Lozzi. I mean, you have to figure it out here. That's 3 in a row. Your penalty kill has, and what happens is, Seth, what folks that might not realize, your penalty kill is you only have 2 units. So what happens is the majority of your forwards in D have to sit. They're not penalty killers. So they're sitting on the bench, not getting their regular shifts. And on top of that, you've got the same players you have to roll out there time after time. Now 3 times in a row, it's a recipe for disaster.
Well, and you only have 5 defensemen, and Saxter sitting for 2 minutes. So now you have 4 defensemen who are seeing extra time here. It's Colucci with 2 players falling down, whips one just over the head of quite a few of her teammates and coaches.
That's
and
the wake-up call. The wake-up call they need. Colucci's tired of killing penalties. Fire one to the bench. Let them know. Let's go, girls. Enough with the penalties here.
I mean, I was on the bench the other night the other day at practice when men's hockey was practicing their power play, and I almost got hit a couple times.
Oh, yeah.
It's a really dangerous bench to be standing on.
Head on a swivel, Seth. Head on a swivel.
Colucci can't handle it. It's up top for Stork. Stork going back and forth with the teammate, and stealing it away is Moritz. Moritz working one-on-one with Sabatini. Moritz holds off Sabatini, trying to get a turn. She'll just pin it along the boards and try to kill some clock down to 1:18 to go on the power plays. It's finally dug out there by Sabatini. Moritz gets it right back. The senior out of Guilford, Connecticut, with a really good shift, has always been one of the Beacon's better penalty killers.
Great work. Great work by Moritz there. Probably took a good 20, 30 seconds off that penalty kill.
Whitman drives the net, loses it, and then loses an edge, and the Beacons have time. Colucci will whip it off the boards. It'll go all the way down where Carliner can't quite slow it down. Down to 50 seconds to go on the man advantage as Moritz gets a well-deserved rest. Beauregard replaces her, just as talented, maybe even a little bit faster. It's Perello. Perello through one player but loses the puck. Couldn't quite keep it with her, and Beauregard clears as far as the Stevenson bench. Perello now working against a couple players. She's been one of the better-looking Mustangs here in the first period. The Beacons can't quite clear it on the Gallucci effort. Gallucci fighting with the player, gets some help, and Felieris is able to go over for Beauregard. Beauregard 1v4 will just chip it in with 15 seconds to go on this man advantage. The biggest thing hurting the Beacons offense at this point is the fact they've been a man down for 6 of the last 8 minutes. So they got 3 goals in the first 12, but have been held scoreless the last 8. It hasn't mattered on the scoreboard as they still lead 3-0. Back to 5-on-5 for the final 30 seconds. Fisher goes right through a trio of players, picks it up behind the net, and she'll feed Beauregard.
There we go.
Very good offensive group out there for the Beacons with the final 20 as a Stevenson player is going to be sent off at the next whistle, and we'll get it. There was a Beacon that was upended behind the net, and UMass Boston will get 13.8 seconds of power play time, and then maybe a little bit extra to start the second if they can't score.
Yeah, this is big for the Beacons. You can really, I mean, you're already up 3-0 here. It's going to be a total reset for Stevenson. But if you're able to get one, I know 13 seconds, you're probably only looking at a shot or two here. But if you can win this draw and go up 4, for some reason, 4-0 versus 3-0, just in your head, seems like you're really getting blown out.
Beacons win the face-off. It's Moritz back for Morrisette, sends a shot right into the skates of Sumasco, and that should do it. Remember, it took the Beacons 17 seconds to score on their first power play. They'll start the second on the power plays. DePippo comes out to play it. 3-0 UMass Boston, 12 minutes in, 3-0 after 20.
Great
really
start.
good 12 minutes. Some things to fix over the last 8, but this is as good a start as we've seen for UMass Boston in a season opener in quite a few years. The Dom Losey era is starting off pretty well.
Seth, they look fast. I mean, they really came out. I see some great speed from this Beacons team, and in years past they've had the speed, but they haven't had the chemistry, and I think that's the deciding factor. Obviously, some girls out here that can really wheel, but, I mean, we're seeing some really good passing that you normally see midway through the season, not in the beginning. A couple of great goals there. UMass jumping out really quick to a 1-0 lead. We're able to compound that with a couple more. Morrisette looks great already with 2 tonight. The one negative, got to address the penalties. Way too many penalties here in this period. You've kept Stevenson alive a little bit. You don't take those penalties, you probably find yourself with even more of a lead. Got to address the penalties, and I'll tell you what, the other thing too, don't forget, second period, Stevenson's going to reset. They're going to, I guarantee you, come out with a little bit more of a spark here. No question, they were a little bit flat-footed that period, so you got to make sure Coach Losey's going in there, making sure, hey, girls, we got 40 minutes left here. A lot of hockey. Let's not take our foot off the gas, continue to push.
This might not mean anything, but Annie Smith-Hammond, the assistant captain and one of the 3 goalies for Stevenson, just had a little bit of a conversation with Tracy Johnson and her assistants. We could see a goalie change for Stevenson, and that we've seen that so many times with the Beacons and visitors. Sometimes you change the goalie, you change the momentum for your side. So we'll see who's in net for both of these teams. DePippo should stay in for the Beacons.
I would think.
But we'll see who's in net for the Mustangs. Right now, let's take a look at a season preview. We spoke to Beacons seniors Kaylee Beauregard, Jane Morrisette, and Ariel Galucci yesterday, and we'll hear what they thought about this season. It's obviously off to a pretty good start after 20 minutes.
I think that Dom came in here like pretty guns blazing. Like, she wasn't very timid about being a new coach, which I thought was great. She definitely is big on the competition level at practice. We do a lot of mini games, a lot of punishment skating too, but I think that gets everybody's feet moving. She's pretty quick to correct you. She doesn't really have any problem speaking her mind, which I think is like super important, especially when it comes to a head coach. And overall, I think that she has a really good work ethic, and she holds us to the standard that she would hold herself.
Dom is super intense, super competitive, and that's what we need. We need someone to hold us accountable during practice. We've been working on offense a lot too, scoring goals, keeping track of how much offense we have during practice, and that's been telling. We have some new systems that we're working on. But overall, it's been super competitive during practice, which is what you want to see.
First coaching change my sophomore year was huge. Obviously, it led us to a NEHC championship title. And going with Dom, we just kind of hear Berm's voice in our head saying, trust the process. And Dom has made a great impact so far. As you can see from our previous scrimmage, we won 7-1. So I think it's good. It's good to have fresh new blood and fresh energy.
Yeah, so I mean, we did graduate quite a few people, and we brought in, I think, just as many, if not a little bit more people. I think like one of the biggest things every year, you watch a class graduate, and you're like, it's just not going to be the same after this, and we're going to have trouble, getting into the flow of things. But I think that the new kids, as well as the returners, have done a really good job of trying to incorporate everybody's different styles of play, and how everybody moves on the ice, and getting that cohesion together early has been like a really big thing for us. I think the new kids are really stepping up, and they're doing a great job, as well as the returners. I think we got a good amount of depth on our first couple of lines, and we're ready to go.
A lot of talent and a lot of potential. Really excited about the new kids. We have little Kaylee coming in, who has a lot of skill and a lot of speed. And then we have Ellie, who always goes to the net. Then we have Casey. Oh, she's on D, but she works hard, so it's a lot of good energy there. So we're excited about that.
Losing some of the forwards last year, we definitely needed to find replacements, and we have a ton of new freshmen. We have Ellie, center. She's very good, very strong. She has a big body. She's good out front. We have little Kaylee, number 12. She's quick, she's speedy, she's sneaky. And then we, of course, have Kaylee Beauregard returning with big points. We have Emily Harris right next to her. So hopefully we can do very well up front.
Edie stepped up a lot. Oh my God, her skills look so good, and she has a mean shot that she's been working on. Katie Leffler also stepped up. She's really been grinding.
My freshman year, we had 4, and it didn't really stop us. So the lack of numbers on D, it's more incentive, honestly, to want to be out there and want to play more. Going to get a lot of ice time this year. There's 6 of us. I think we've got a solid group here. Dom said, she's like, we're going with people that are playing the best, and I think that as long as you want what's best for the team, you're going to be out there working and grinding, and the amount of ice time you get is just going to be one of those things that you're going to have to stick through it. And for us on D, we've always graduated one person each year, last 3 or 4 years now, myself included. I'm the only senior now, but we brought in a really good freshman, Casey. I think that she's going to do a lot of good stuff for us this year, and I think that the D pairs will just have to feel it out, click with some people, and keep it rolling. I think we'll do a good job.
We learned a lot from Dom and her coaching style. She's very, very vocal, and she's very in your face, which a lot of players need because you kind of question what you're doing wrong, and to hear it from your coach right away, you know that you can fix it your next shift.
Flag has been through some games before. She's obviously a transfer here. And Petito is our freshman goalie here. I think that she's been really great in grinding it out and just being one of those scrummy goalies that'll throw her hand behind her back and go into a full split if she needs to. And I think Flag is really technically sound. She's got all the right moves down. She's kind of an XYZ goalie where if you do one thing, she knows where she's going. And then Alyssa, I've been her biggest fan since day one. She's a grinder. I can't even describe her in any other way. She just works harder than I've ever seen anybody work. And I think that she's been in that position for 3 years, and I'm really excited to see her step up this year and get some minutes.
I thought that it was a good scrimmage. I thought we got all the nerves out, which was good going into our game tomorrow.
Yeah, obviously, everybody would like to set their end goal as winning the league. But I think that we are a lot more realistic on this team. We like to take baby steps, and that ultimately that goal will be won by winning the little battles. You win the battles to win the war, and I think that we're doing a good job taking it one team at a time. Nobody should be focusing on 3-4 games from now because we got one to play tomorrow. So I think we're doing a good job and just saying, hey, we're going to win your shift, and then we're going to win this period, and we're going to win this game, and it's going to translate. So hopefully that'll carry us through to the end.
Looking forward to just having fun this year. The first year having mono and then dislocating my shoulder, a lot was taken from me. So I've just kind of learned to take one day at a time and just enjoy it while I'm here because sooner or later it's going to be over. I think we're all very, very driven to be the best that we can be and come every day and practice hard and skate hard and have a good attitude and just be focused. And I think that's going to really translate into our games, which you'll be able to tell when we play on Friday.
Welcome back to the Edward T. Barry Ice Rink. It's UMass Boston 3-0 after 20 minutes. And Matt, the stats show that it could have been even more. A couple late shots credited to the Mustangs. 8-2 in favor of the Beacons. 16-1 in faceoffs, which shows the Beacons have some good hands in addition to just some good speed. And then you see the power plays. Stevenson 0 for 3. The Beacons are 1 for 2 because they only had 13 seconds in the first period.
Yeah.
The Beacons are dominating special teams, dominating faceoffs, and they're also getting the better end of things at even strength. What do you talk about of your Stevenson in terms of adapting into this game and maybe making some adjustments?
Well, you got to start with one. I mean, it's a total reset. And what I mean by that is usually after a period, you're going in, you're changing a few things. Maybe you don't like the forecheck. Maybe you change a couple lines. This is not that case. This is you go in there and it's, hey, we've got to start from scratch here. Let's just get back to the fundamentals, making good passes, getting pucks deep, trying to set up in the offensive zone. Heck, at this point, just fire them on net. If I'm their coach, I have no problem. Let's just cross the blue line, fire them on net. Let's try to get some in-zone draws because at this point, the Beacons have dominated in times of possession. They seem to be outmatching us with speed. They're crashing the net harder. You name it. The Beacons have that that box checked off. I think the only thing that you see if you're Stevenson is the fact that the referees seem to be liking to call penalties tonight. Already, we were clean the whole period, and now all of a sudden you had 4, 3 of which were in our favor. So that's, I guess, a little bit of a positive. But for Stevenson, it's got to be a total reset. Now, again, if you're the Beacons, you can't. Now, there's a propensity mentally when you're up 3-0. Now, all of a sudden, you kind of relax. You stop doing the things that made you successful. Maybe you try a little bit of, in and out moves. You try to make some highlight reel plays. And those things often lead to turnovers. Next thing you know, you're allowing Stevenson to get opportunities they wouldn't otherwise. So I think if you're the Beacons, just got to remind the girls to continue to dominate. Again, 40 minutes here. Let's not move away from what made us successful. Let's get out there, get a couple shifts, maybe even score on this power play, and really put this team away pretty quickly here in the second period so that we can roll 4 lines and really make this thing a point night.
Let's take a look right now at the scoring summary from that first period. The Beacons made it 1-0 just a minute 21 in. An unassisted goal from Emily Harris, her first of the season. Jane Morrisette scoring 17 seconds into the Beacons' first power play of the season off a pass from Katie Leffler. Edie Moritz with the second assist. She won the original faceoff. And then Jane Morrisette with the Beacons' third goal just about 8 minutes in. UMass Boston owns a 3-0 lead in this one. Let's take a look at the highlights from that first period, Matt. You can break it down. It's a lot of Beacons highlights. There were just the 2 shots for Stevenson and really just the 1 really good look for the Mustangs.
Yeah, it was a really good period. I mean, some of the subtleties in this period, which won't be on this highlight reel, are really the parts I like best. But you'll take a look here. We'll start off with Harris's goal. And again, just watch how she's going to make 1 extra move here, coming around towards the net. That 1 move right there to get around the D. And that actually goes off the defenseman skated in. But that move created a scoring opportunity. It looked like a nothing play. And just a heads-up play by Harris to get that towards the net. We'll see Morissette's goal. Again, that little drop pass off the backhand. Morrisette just steps into one, wires it. You see the celebration on the blue line. That made it 2-0 Beacons. And a good stop here, 2-on-1. A little slap shot. That one off the glove. And this is that chaos behind the net. Beacons didn't score on that one. But then again, here you'll see Morissette's second goal. She took that one from her own corner all the way down the wing. Was able to get that shot on goal, bury a rebound, 3-0 Beacons here, and then this good save by Pip. Again, the highlight here, no rebound. Really tough when you haven't faced that many shots in a period to make that save, but the Beacons did a really nice job in that period in dominating Stevenson in all facets, and as the Zamboni exits here, we'll get ready. Beacons will still have a minute 47 on that power play to really try and take advantage and build off some of that momentum they had in the first period there, Seth.
A very good first period. Let's take a look around the rest of Beaconville. It's a busy weekend. It's changed a little bit in the schedule because we're due for our first nor'easter here in Massachusetts. Now, a nor'easter just means northeasterly winds. I read that on the Weather Channel today. But a lot of rain and a lot of wind coming into Boston tomorrow. So both of the soccer games.
Don't tell me snow.
No snow.
Okay.
Not yet. We're
Too soon for that.
We're going to be in the 40s, not the 30s. With the women's soccer team playing a rare Friday night game. They trail Keene State 1-0, so they need a goal in the last 30 minutes to at least earn a tie. Realistically, need 2 to earn a top 3 seed. The men's soccer team, they're out there right now. It's cold outside. It's cold in this rink.
Man.
It's cold out there. A 7:30 start. They host Keene State. The volleyball team is at Brandeis tomorrow. The cross-country team is going to be competing outside in the rain at Rhode Island College.
Jeez.
That's their conference championship. And the men's hockey team, they're at Wentworth tomorrow and Everett at 7 p.m. So a lot of stuff going on. This is a lot of people's favorite time of the year, the start of hockey season. This is my least favorite time of the year because there's just not enough time to sleep.
It's stretched thin.
But it's a busy time and a fun time as the Beacons try to pick up a win here on opening night. We talked a lot about what Wentworth needs to do.
Yeah.
Not Wentworth, but Stevenson.
Men play Wentworth tomorrow, 7 o'clock. We'll see you there.
Biggest key for UMass Boston, especially early in this second period, to put this game away. I mean, anytime you have a power play, you have a good chance to get another goal.
Yeah, and even if they don't score, I think the key here is to just get some momentum. You know, oftentimes you look to see power plays, did you score, did you not score? It's not really that simple. Sometimes power plays can just allow your team to kind of pick up where they left off or gain some momentum. In this case, the former, picking up where they left off. The great first period there. And this power play, I believe they'll get some scoring opportunities. They might go up 4-0, but I think even worst case scenario, able to get some of that momentum to carry over from that first period. And the one thing I hope as well, Seth, is they don't forget to play D. You know, oftentimes when you see a 3-0 lead after one, you kind of have a lot of that momentum. You take a look at the team, you kind of look and you say, okay, let's get some offense rolling. It turns into a point night, and you forget to play D. And I would hate to see Alyssa DePippo down there all by herself, you know.
I'm not John Skudris. The S word will not come out of my mouth until at least the last 5 minutes. Rachel Milet and Marin Brown both in the building.
Some alumni.
2 of the 5 seniors on last year's team.
Yeah, Bianchini here.
Annika Carlander is in net. So
yeah.
The sophomore who did not allow a goal as a freshman, only played 120 minutes. She stays in after giving up her first 2 collegiate goals. You saw Alyssa DePippo warming up, trying to find a way to keep herself warm on a cold night, not just outside, but here at the Edward T. Barry Ice Rink. Beacons win the faceoff, and they have a minute 47 to do some damage, 1 for 1 thus far on the night. Behind the net, it's Lunn able to keep it alive. Has Peacock there, also out on the top unit. Beauregard along with Galucci. And that looks like on the far side, Felieris. All the way out to the blue line and kept alive by Galucci. This is actually the second group. No Jane Morrisette. Peacock with it, a drop pass. Felieris right in and out of the glove of Carlander. The talented freshman out of Columbus, Ohio.
It's a very good save there, Seth.
Up top for Beauregard. Beauregard across for Peacock and back for Beauregard. Beauregard, a quick shot, tipped around, puck's loose, and diving on top of it is Carlander, but she can't hang on. Beauregard to the center and taking a chance at that one was Felieris, but it was tipped away. Keeping it alive is Galucci in the zone. Galucci tees up a shot, bouncing in front. Peacock got a look, and it skitters through. It's Rachel Peacock, her first of the season, and the Beacons take just a minute and 4 seconds in to the second period to make it a 4-0 game.
Yeah, a couple failed clears there, Seth, from Stevenson. They had a couple opportunities to clear that puck. The last one getting stopped by Galucci, and she's able to fire one on net. You'll see here on the replay, fires one on net. There's going to be a slight rebound. Peacock's going to be able to tuck that one 5-hole, and it's just enough to trickle in. Again, a great shot, and we're going to get a goaltending change. And we said we were looking at perhaps 3 or 4-0, and this will be Katie DeRosa going to make a start here. So we're going to get a goaltending change here, Seth, just to start the second period. 4-0 Beacons. And it looks like a timeout as well. Stevenson just going to hit again, I keep saying it, but a little bit of a reset here. That power play goal is going to end it tonight for Carlander, which I don't think you can blame her on a lot of those goals, Seth. I mean, a lot of that stuff was really just the Beacons outplaying Stevenson, but as you called, a little bit of a trying to generate a spark here of something. So we are going to get a goaltending change, and it's going to be DeRosa coming in for Carlander.
Katie DeRosa was the team starter a season ago, but she did not play against UMass Boston. It was Annie Smith-Hammond who got the start in the non-conference matchup, a 1-1 tie, as Stevenson already out after the timeout. DeRosa, a season ago, played in 18 games, 8-5-2, a career best 915 save percentage, 259 goals against average, 2 shutouts. She was an all-MAC second team all-conference player as a junior. And the senior from Madison, Connecticut comes in with their team already trailing 4-0. So really there's no pressure for DeRosa, who's playing her 43rd collegiate game. Beacons collide at the Stevenson blue line, and it'll send the puck down the other way with speed. It's Barlow trying to check it down, and DePippo has to cover near post. One of the better looks today for Stevenson. Going the other way is Beauregard. Beauregard gets tripped up at the blue line, and the Beacons will be going right back on the power play. 23 seconds after the last power play ends, the Beacons will get their third opportunity, looking to go 3 for 3.
Yeah, speed from Beauregard there down the wall, and you can see the puck. She pushes it ahead of her, goes to chase it. Knows she's got more speed than the D, and a little bit of stick work there. She got tripped up. And as you said, it looks like Allison Barlow will sit, so the Beacons will go back onto the power play. This is their top unit.
I mean, it was the second unit the last time out there that scored to start the second period. This time it's the top unit of Moritz, Harris, Leffler, Morrisette, and Colucci. Some of their most talented players. Morrisette looking back post for Harris, who's already scored one, but it's broken up. A nice defensive effort there from Trinity Barclays. Morrisette right to the tape of Moritz, who's looked good tonight. Leffler can't hang on. She had an assist on the first power play goal. That was Jane Morissette's first of the night. Colucci back to the near side. Over for Morrisette and back for Bree, who scored quite a few times down the stretch last season. He's one of the Beacons' top scoring defensemen. Morrisette tees up a shot, and that one, I don't know if it quite made it on net to DeRosa.
I think that might have hit Harris on the way through based on the reaction of the goaltender.
Harris scored the opener, Morrisette the second and third, and then to start this second period, it was Rachel Peacock with her first goal of the season. Beacons in the midst of a mini change as Peacock will come back on. It's Morrisette for Peacock, broken up, but the Beacons keep it in. A nice job by Peacock to get over there. Peacock now behind the net with 50 left on the man advantage. The Beacons 2 for 2 thus far. Moritz whiffed on the pass back to the blue line. Stevenson tries to get it out, but unable to do so. Shot from the circle, saved by DeRosa, and she hangs on.
Yeah, and again, you know, Stevenson, I give them credit. You know, they are, it seems, a little bit outmatched tonight, but they continue to fight here, and a couple good saves there. No rebound on that one. If you're the Beacons, I think perfect opportunity to try some things. Perhaps maybe you didn't get a lot of time in practice this week to try maybe different setups, different looks to see, you know, get some game action here on the power play. Always tough to duplicate game action with practice time, and see this puck should get out of the zone there, but good opportunity maybe to try some different setups here on the power play than your normal setup.
Well, one of the things that Dom Losey was really emphasizing that she wanted to see out of this Beacons team was a little bit more of a net front presence, to be more active, to go after those rebounds in front. And I think that's a lot of coaches' focus, because it's a lot easier to score 2 feet from net versus 20. But the Beacons have been very good at getting players to the net and being aggressive tonight. Maybe a little bit of Losey's philosophy. Also, it helps when you're clearly having the better edge in terms of speed, as the Beacons unable to score on this particular power play, still lead at 4-0. Working with it behind her own net is McGee. Over to Stork. It's the top defensive pairing for the Mustangs out of the penalty kill, and the pass forward, able to find really speedy Nikki Kendrick, who couldn't quite find the target there. Kendrick in front, a chance, and a kick save there from DePippo.
Great save. Great save.
Hasn't had to make a lot, but she's made a couple of really nice ones. Stevenson controls on the near side. Centering feet knocked away by Galucci. Now Beauregard picks it away. Beauregard right to the tape of Harris. Littleton, Colorado native with one, looking for a second here. Her shot goes right off the cage of Sabatini. Moritz flings one on net. It's tipped wide, and it's picked up by Kozik. Kaylee Kozik, who every single Beacon, when I asked them about her, compared her to Kristen Embry. Kind of a similar player, a little bit small, a little bit crafty. And that's a pretty good comparison when Embry is now still playing professionally down in Australia.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Embry had a tremendous junior season with the Beacons on that top line. The Beacons control shot from really tight angle, just missing the target there from Edie Moritz, who's worked on her shot a lot during the offseason.
Beacons making a little bit of a change here. If they can keep this puck in, and they don't, Stevenson should get at least a partial change here. They had him pinned pretty good there, but should get at least, and that'll be a full change now.
Yeah, Adamy wasn't able to keep it in, and then Colucci struggled to handle it. Puck tipped forward there by Janessa Hernandez, the Chicago native, who missed all but 4 games as a freshman due to a shoulder injury she came into college with, and now the pass for Colucci is behind her. And it'll be DePippo settling it for Adamy. Adamy, a nice play to spin around a defender, and the Beacons are just able to clear. Hernandez gets around the defenseman and the referee and able to feed Peacock. Peacock scored the first goal of this period, but her centering feed tipped all the way out, and it'll come back into the Beacons' defensive half. Working with it now is Grace Fisher. Fisher with speed into the zone. Fisher from the circle sends a shot, kicked away by DeRosa. Behind the net, battling with it is Peacock. Peacock trying to hold off one player. Now a second Mustang comes over, losing the skates of the referee, still working with it, trying to tip it back to the blue line, but it's picked away by the Mustangs.
And I don't know what time it is in Australia, but just received a text from none other than Kristen Embry, tuned in tonight. So we are global tonight on the broadcast there, Seth, and hope all is well, Cash, and continue to rep Beacon hockey down under.
Well, from my experience about 6 or 7 years ago, I think it's 13 hours from the East Coast to the East Coast of Australia. So you're talking about, that's not so bad, 8:50 in the morning. Probably better than a lot of start times down there.
Gotta appreciate it. Dedicated, tuning in.
Colucci right into the skates of Beauregard, couldn't quite hang on, and it's back for Ariel Colucci, wearing the C this season for UMass Boston. Her pass a bit too strong, and this will be an icing. We'll get a stoppage with 12:50. The Beacons scored 3 in the first period, all in the first 8 minutes. Added another goal, less than a minute 30 into this second period, and they're rolling right now, up 4-0 on Stevenson.
Yeah, you can see the intensity has dropped a little bit since that first period. The Beacons just, with that 4th goal there, I think, not pressuring as much as we saw, and it's tough when you're up that much. You're up early, this early in a hockey game by 4. It's tough to keep the same intensity you might have if it was 0-0, 1-1. So just kind of a natural occurrence. But again, I can't stress enough. Don't want to let Stevenson back in. All of a sudden you get one, you give this team a little bit of confidence, a little bit of momentum. It's funny what can happen.
Is this the point in the game where maybe as a coaching staff you set mini goals? Hey, we want to hold into blank shots in the period. Hey, we want to add another goal by this point, where you feel comfortable in your lead, but you want to keep the team focused and aiming towards something.
Well, you set challenges from a coaching perspective. You set challenges. You try to, line by line. I always liked when coaches say, okay, who doesn't have a point yet? Let's get him on the board here. It's a little early for that. Still plenty of hockey left. You don't want to get too crazy, but you just try to keep the girls engaged, keep it fun, keep it challenging, and obviously continue to roll 4 lines. I think give these freshmen as much ice time as you can. Your juniors and seniors have seen plenty. They're going to be here all year, but this is a great time for Losey to give those freshmen and sophomores who don't have the minutes a little bit of extra ice time to give them some of that experience.
Well, and the Beacons have the added advantage. They don't have a game tomorrow. They are off till Tuesday when they travel to Endicott, which should be a great non-conference game.
Sure.
But you don't have to worry about maybe tiring out some players or about fresh legs for tomorrow, whereas Stevenson, already a little bit tired from the long drive, they're at New England College tomorrow. It's not the same quality team. As coming in is Ryan, in on net, looks for the feed to the back post for Felieris, and the Beacons unable to convert. Maybe too unselfish there from Kelsey Ryan.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's funny is we got a whistle here. It looks like there's going to be a penalty, and yeah, you're all alone with the goaltender there. You kind of want to get that one on net. I know she's looking backdoor, trying to find the easy tap-in play, but
let's take a look at it right now.
We'll show you the replay here as Beacons will get another penalty here. We'll address in a second, but a great play just to get that puck over, and you see Ryan just get that towards the net. You're all alone. That's a breakaway. Got to get a shot on goal there. I know the unselfish play, trying to look for the back door, but got to get a shot on goal. Beacons on the penalty kill.
Yeah, the Beacons with their 4th penalty of the day. I believe it was Casey Ademi, 2 minutes for roughing there. So UMass Boston down a defenseman again, which makes it more difficult when you only have 5 defensemen available tonight, because Jane Ann Drill is attending a wedding, hoping she's having a great time. The sophomore out of Wisconsin, not missed tonight, but obviously would be a big absence if she was missing more than just the one game. The Beacons only have 6 defensemen on the roster this season. Setting it down low, that's Stork. Picked up by Colucci, and will come all the way out, and possibly a smart play there by the defenseman, but it's not going to be an icing either way as Morrisette wins the foot race. Backhand feed, able to find Lund with the long reach. The Beacons looking for some offense here on the penalty kill. Morissette's going to head off, and the Beacons will send out Edie Moritz. So they kill a couple seconds and get a fresh pair of legs out there in Moritz, who immediately takes out a Stevenson player, and the Beacons able to find Lund in a foot race with Stork, and Stork able to win it as Lund, I think, lost her, maybe her mouth guard there. Something hit the ice.
I don't know what that was. At first I thought it was her skate blade, but she was able to skate off. Might have been some sort of wrist guard as this play will be offside. And Seth, I hate to do it to you, but Cash wanted to clarify. It's actually 11 a.m. there. So some slight, we got to adjust something.
Well, is it about to be 11 or is it 10:54?
She said, direct quote, nice try, Seth, but it's 11 a.m. You got to calculate. Is something wrong with the calculation?
It's 7:55, so I'm off, but am I off by an extra hour or 2 extra hours?
Well, I'm sure she will clarify.
That's the important part. It's controlled there by Galucci as it'll be Beauregard sending it down the length of the ice. It's been a while since
I give
was
you
still
credit
in college
for taking a
to study
shot.
abroad.
I wouldn't have even taken a shot.
Well, as a big sports fan, in the middle of the summer, I was trying to figure out when the Phillies were playing. I could watch the live stats sometimes at work. It's controlled there by the Mustangs just outside the zone. And we've seen a couple of Mustangs lose an edge just along their own bench here over the last couple minutes, and then that pass is off the mark. Stevenson just does not look in tune here.
No.
Really throughout this game.
Yeah, just again, in here is zone entry. You know, this is another penalty killed off by these Beacons, but no zone entry. You know, can't get the pucks in with any type of formation. And you see here again, the transition for the Beacons is usually 1 or 2 passes and they're out. As that's a good stop there. I don't know. Did we get a little pipe there? I don't know.
No, I think that caught the shoulder of DeRosa,
Okay.
but she got left out to dry as Harris was able to just skate right in. Defenseman let her just drive by on the easy fake.
1 or 2 passes and out of the zone.
Colucci for the back post, nearly put in off the stick of Paige Sullivan, the defender for Stevenson, who tapped that one away from the target. Now it's Colucci, loses it amongst her skates, picked up by Harris, who was looking for the shot. Slowed down, it'll be held onto by DeRosa.
Yeah, and again, on that transition, just it seems like each and every time the Beacons, if they can make one good pass with speed, they're out of the zone. I mean, they're in and out of the neutral zone like it's nothing, and then all of a sudden they're on offense. And I think if you're Stevenson, the one thing I would try to take away is make those passes just a little bit more difficult. Got to clog some of those lanes. You're making it very easy for this Beacons team, who have good skaters, really just 1 or 2 passes and they're out of the zone. Got to challenge them a little bit more than that.
3 goals in the first period, all in the first 8 minutes. The Beacons added a 4th goal, a second power play goal in the opening minute 30 of this second period. It's been all UMass Boston in the 2018-19 opener for both of these sides. As Ryan finds Beauregard, Beauregard's centering pass is knocked right back at her, and Colucci loses it. Bree, who was so solid a year ago, hasn't looked quite as consistent as we're used to seeing, but again, when you're up 4-0, those are small things you can fix. Behind the net, drawing a penalty there. Really nice play by Leffler. And the Beacons will get the extra skater as DePippo races over to her own bench. Colucci tries to tee up a shot but sends it well wide. And the Beacons will go on the power play for the 4th time today, already 2 for 3.
Yeah, and again, you know, Beacons, that penalty is just really caused just from pressure. You know, cycling pucks low, and they're just, Stevenson just seems to be one step behind consistently. You saw there just a little bit of an interference play. And I'm not sure who, it looks like 16 in the box there, Seth.
It does. That's Brianna Crossan, they've been playing that 7th defenseman a couple of times. It makes sense. Their defensemen have been really worn out by this Beacons team. So Crossan to the box for 2. And they're going to call it for hooking there. So the Beacons will go back. They scored power play goals on each of their first 2 opportunities. Unable to score on the last one is Morrisette, who's sitting on 2 goals. Looking for a potential hat trick here on opening night, brings it into the zone. Jane with their 25th and 26th career goals. 25th, well, that's a number to remember, as that's part of our trivia question later today, as Morrisette a shot right into the leg there of Maddie Ricci. And Ricci looks to go the other way, gets around Morrisette, who drags her down, tapped away by DePippo, no idea where the puck is, but it's going to be a whistle before the puck went in. And I think we're going to see a little bit of 4-on-4 for the next minute 16.
Well, just not a very good play by Morrisette at all. You get your puck blocked, and I don't. She might even be going to the box. She's going to the bench. I think she's going got to go to the box. It's just a bad play. Got your shot blocked at the blue line there. You can't have that if you're going to run the point on the power play. And then I think a little bit of lack of hustle on the way back. She's a good enough skater where she can get back, and it seemed like was Hall to play her down. She's going to sit for 2, and I know she's disappointed with that play there, Seth, but you just can't have that if you're going to be on the power play.
Well, and give a lot of credit to Maddie Ricci. Jane Morissette's one of the fastest Beacons, and Ricci was able to stun her a little bit. The assistant captain, senior out of Wilmington, Mass., a little bit of a homecoming for her, and, I mean, that's kind of a momentum play that could help you. This weekend, you don't want to see it go downhill fast, and maybe that turns the tide a little bit.
The refs are talking here, Seth, and you've got –
the puck ended up in the back of the net.
Let's see here. I want to know what they're talking about. I'd be curious to know because, as you said, the puck did end up in the net. Now, I do think the whistle blew previously. I don't think this will count as a goal, but let's see here. You get a replay.
Well, apparently we missed the replay, you and I, but Gigi has shown it, our director, and deleted it. But
fantastic.
So,
fantastic. So the fans at home can let us know.
But here's what I saw. You had Ricci and another player in the crease making contact with DePippo. The net came off its moorings. The puck ended up in the back. But it's really hard to tell, at least from up here, when the puck actually made its way into the net.
Yeah, and the refs, it looks like they come out of their huddle. They didn't motion towards center ice. So I think they're giving an explanation here to Stevenson.
That's the captain, Samasco.
Yeah, Samasco's getting the explanation here, and I'm sure they'll visit with the bench as well. I'll be curious. You know, it's funny. Now, people get reminded of this all the time it's going to be no goal. He's going to give an explanation to the coaching staff. Now, it's not when the whistle blows. It's the intent to blow the whistle, as most people know. So I think the referees discussed it, understood that in this scenario it's going to be no goal. But as you said, the puck did enter the net, so you never know. It's good that the refs discussed it as they give an explanation here to both coaching staffs, and should be 4 aside with a face-off to DePip's right here.
You're forgetting the O at the end of DePippo.
I like DePip better.
But I don't know if her family
better.
does.
Yeah, it just works better. I don't know. I'll add the O.
As long as the fans at home know that you know her name, because I know you know it, but you've just been –
DePip just fits better.
But she goes by Pip.
I know. It's not her name.
But
I like
Pip works and DePippo works.
Am I not allowed? It's a little nickname
I'm not telling
you
you're not allowed. I'm just saying she has a nickname already.
She can have another one? You challenged me. All right, I'll go with DePippo for the rest of the game here, just so my colleague Seth is happy. And, you know, it's curious. It's still discussion here. I'm very curious. It seems like pretty cut and dry. You know, let's see what we get here.
This is a really strange discussion. Either way, we're going to see 4-on-4
Seth,
unless they count the goal.
I don't think this has to do with the goal. I wonder if Morrisette said something to the refs on the way out. They're talking to Morrisette.
Well, Jane was upset with the call, which, I mean, she is a very feisty player, so she might – but it looked pretty obvious that she did trip Maddie Ricci on the way through. She lost her own edge, so that's why she was going down.
I don't think this has to do with the goal. I think Morrisette might have said something to the referees after that play, and I think that's the discussion we're having right here. I don't think she's in the box. She's not getting tossed. I wonder if she's getting – we'll have to wait for the announcement. I wonder if maybe they gave her an unsportsmanlike – you can't have that. You just can't. I know she's frustrated with the play there,
especially wearing the A this year as a fifth-year senior.
Yeah, you can't have that. We'll have to see on the announcement. But nevertheless, back to action here. They'll skate 4 aside, and still a 4-0 lead here for the Beacons.
And this probably actually benefits the Beacons. You do lose Morrisette, who's one of your best 4-on-4 skaters, but Beacons have been the better skating team tonight.
And just the 2, it sounds like, Seth. So I think she got a very strong warning from the referees. We don't want any more from you for the rest of the game. I think she was pretty close to perhaps getting a 10-minute misconduct there, and I'm sure the coaching staff will let her know that wearing the A comes with a little bit of added responsibility, and we can't have you making bad plays and then topping it off with a abusing of the officials.
That puck hits the side netting on the look from distance as Stevenson has had 2 or 3 good looks in this period after just 2 shots, 1 good effort in the first period. Shot from distance knocked down by Gallucci, and she's not going to clear that puck. Is stepping forward, a nice defensive play by Rachel Gruitt. Beacons get the clearance out to the blue line. Down to 5 seconds on the Stevenson penalty, so Stevenson will actually get a benefit. It'll be 2 seconds left on their penalty, and then they'll have about 44 seconds on what's their 5th power play of the day.
Yeah,
0 for 4 thus far.
And they've had, listen, they've had chances. I mean, they've had some power plays here, and they're going to get another one here in a couple seconds, but you got to give them credit. They continue to fight here. This game's, I don't want to say it's out of reach yet. It's reaching that point, but you got to get one soon if you're Stevenson.
Beacons win the face-off. A nice win from Peacock over to Saxter, and she gets the clearance. DeRosa will hold on. That's big because you get 7 seconds gone, and then you hold on to it. But I will say Stevenson has seemed to settle down a little bit with Katie DeRosa in net.
Yep.
A player who's been there before, and a player that a lot of these Stevenson players are probably a little bit more used to seeing in net.
And I want to give credit to Erica Lund there, creating that face-off, hustling towards the goal, not allowing that goaltender to keep that puck moving, and now with an in-zone draw, if you're the Beacons, a late change here by Stevenson. Again, still more discussions with the referees, but kind of interesting why Stevenson was allowed to change there. Ref had his hand up, but nevertheless, face-off win, looks like, for the Beacons. Stevenson comes away with it.
Loeffler winning it forward there, just trying to allow our defense a bit of more time. It's Loeffler and Beauregard, the forwards. It's Fisher and Colucci there. Good drive, but a nice job by Colucci stepping in front of that shot from Perello, who's been one of the better looking forwards today for Steven. And it's Loeffler with the long clearance. She's in a new role this year. Katie Barry was a very good penalty killer. She's filling that role and has done a nice job, the sophomore out of Florida.
Yeah, absolutely. And that goes, you talk about players earning their role, earning their playing time. That's what they talk about. It's a shot on goal. Great hustle.
Wraparound chance from her butt, and a nice effort from Loeffler, who was denied there by DeRosa, was able to slide over. Now the Beacons have a 3-on-0 opportunity. Loeffler with Harris to her right. 2-on-0. Loeffler thinking about it, holds on, and it's kicked away. A little bit selfish that time by Katie. The Beacons ran the 2-on-0.
I'll let her take it. Harris peeled off. I like Loeffler's play, taking that to the net, getting a shot on goal. Made a nice move, but a better save by DeRosa. A huge opportunity for the Beacons as they caught Stevenson on a change.
Kozik nearly lost an edge, but able to swerve and hang on just long enough for the Beacons to get numbers. And UMass Boston has the 4 goals, but they probably had another 4 or 5 great opportunities where it's been 2-on-1 or 2-on-0. Beacons using that speed to their advantage.
Most definitely.
Fisher, the centering feed goes all the way through. Racing over is Gallucci. Had help from Kozik if she needed it. Catches a little bit of snow there on the far side, and coming over is Moritz. Moritz looked like she was going to lose an edge. Instead, held on to the boards, kept it alive. Working there defensively against Trinity Barclays, and now a chance for Stevenson to clear the zone with McInnesby. All the way back into the Beacons' end. Fisher has tons of time as Stevenson almost caught in the midst of another change. Pass just a bit behind Hernandez there, and it'll come out to center ice, where now it's a chance for a 2-on-1 the other way. Samasco to the near side, just behind Whitman, centering feed across, a second effort, and Alyssa DePippo just made her best sequence of saves of the night.
Well, it started in the defensive zone there, and Fisher missed Hernandez, had her flying right across the blue line, totally missed her, and then a 2-on-1 down the other end, and I couldn't stress it. We're going to show you the replay here. Check out a couple saves from DePippo.
Against the top line.
See, the 2-on-1 here, a little bit of a mishandle there, but a fire, and that great kick save, but look at the recovery. Just quick footwork, by DePippo to not only get up, but actually challenge that shooter, and a great glove save, no rebound. Her best sequence of the night.
And remember, UMass Boston has a bit of a 1A, 1B, maybe even 1C situation with the freshman Olivia Petito. UMass Boston said, Don Losey told her goalies, hey, it's going to be Alyssa DePippo on opening night. It's going to be Katie Flagg, the UNE transfer, on Tuesday at Endicott, and then we'll figure it out from there. Well, Alyssa DePippo didn't see a ton of action in the first period. There are a couple of really nice saves to keep this game at 4-0, keep it comfortable, as there's a knocking away of a stick by Adamy, and then maybe the extra push was what really drew the penalty. Now another player goes down. We'll see if it's 1 or 2 Beacons who are heading to the box, but Adamy certainly just a bit too physical there. And the Beacons, a little bit of a penalty issue. I believe this is their 6th already, and we're not even 40 minutes in.
It's going to be 2, Seth. It's going to be, oh, no, never mind. Let's see. Yeah, it's going to be 2. It's going to be a 5-on-3.
Adamy.
Two separate penalties. It's going to be 1 for a hook and I think 1 for a check. Yeah, or a hold there. Yeah, it's going to be a 5-on-3. This is unacceptable. If I'm Coach Lozzi, this is far too unacceptable for the Beacons. You have a game where you're up 4-0 here. You're dominating a team in Stevenson in every way, shape, and form, and you just continue to take really unnecessary penalties. It's a little bit shocking.
A week ago, we saw this out of the men's team with 10 different 10 different power play opportunities for the EHL All-Stars. Today, it's the women's team who's struggling with their penalties. 5-on-3 opportunity, the first of the day for Stevenson. Certainly their best chance to score. Still have a minute 45 as the feed comes to near side backhand feed, and it's knocked away by DePippo and picked up there by Morrisette, who's out for the first time since she was in the box. Morrisette 1v5, holds on, and has a chance to go back to the blue line. Instead, she's just going to stick handle her way through traffic, try to send it back out to the point for Colucci. It's out there with Golucci, 3 of the Beacon's best players, trying to handle this 5-on-3 opportunity. Shot from distance, held on to by DePippo, and we'll see a line change for, looks like both sides. The Beacons will send 2 new skaters. It'll be Beauregard and Moritz. Well, someone else has to go as the Beacons only have 3 available. And UMass Boston will go with 2 forwards and a defenseman here, 5-on-3. Moritz, one of their best face-off takers against Damasco. Damasco wins this one. It was rare in the first period, just 1 face-off win for the Mustangs. Coming in tight is Whitman, and another glove save from DePippo, who's been the Beacon's best penalty killer at least through the first 49 seconds of this 5-on-3.
Yeah, she looks really confident in the net, really challenging her angles. And I'll tell you what, for Stevenson, you're not going to get a better opportunity than this. A full 2-minute 5-on-3. If you can't score here, I mean, really going to be a tough task trying to come back in this game tonight.
Well, and if you can't score here, you're essentially through 2 periods. There's a minute 44 left in the second period and a minute left to go on the 5-on-3. Golucci tries to clear it and does so. Remember, a year ago, Alyssa DePippo made a career-high 42 saves on 43 shots against Stevenson. She's not going to get into the 40s today, but certainly has a lot of confidence against this Mustang side. Clearance as far as Beauregard for Golucci, and now she'll send it in the vicinity of Moritz, down to 35 seconds to go on the 5-on-3 advantage. This was a full 5-on-3 too, both penalties at the same time.
Yep.
So Stevenson, this is going to be extra frustrating if they can't score. Handling it is Damasco, the captain, waiting for a player off the ice, right onto the tape, and another nice save as Carly McGee sent a shot from straight on, but no traffic in front.
Yeah, and you see DePippo just really tracking the puck well, and that's a shot from the high slot. You know, it's tough as a goaltender. Usually on an angle, you try to force a shooter to one side, whether it be the right or the left. You take away the majority of one side, and when it's in the center, you don't have that option. So you try to come out, but you don't know. It could go right, could go left. She seems to be tracking the puck really well. Her rebound control has looked good all night.
Perello wins it over for McGee, who sends it down low, and the shot there, almost like kind of a shot pass from Maddie Ricci, is knocked away by DePippo, down to 3 on the man advantage. Stevenson can keep the Beacons in their own end. Shot, and DePippo holding on, and somehow it slides through the crease. Beacons getting a little bit lucky there as DePippo did not know where it was. On the long stretch pass, it's picked up by Ryan off the crossbar. What a beautiful look. That was actually Fellerius, who just missed.
Short side. Didn't think she had enough room, just missed, went off the pipe.
Would have been a beautiful moment for the freshman out of Columbus, Ohio, who was looking for her first collegiate goal. Down to 15 left in the period. Driving hard is Ricci, knocking away as the 5-on-3 is over, but the Beacons didn't close the box door.
Slightly dangerous there.
So it'll come back into the Beacons' end. Won't really make a difference with 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And UMass Boston, an early goal and a lot of penalty killing again here in the second period. A lot of positives, one big negative, but overall a pretty strong performance when the Beacons aren't committing penalties.
Yeah, completely unacceptable. I'm very disappointed. I think the coaching staff has to address what's going on here with these Beacons. There's way too many penalties, and these aren't plays where Stevenson is forcing your hand here, you know, driving hard to the net, or, you know, you're forced to take a player down who has a good scoring opportunity. I mean, these are plays that are just regular hockey plays, and all of a sudden, you know, Beacons with a hook here, a hold there, a trip there, Just really surprising, you know, a night where you're up 4-0, you would think you're more focused on trying to score versus trying to be physical, and you had the play by Morrisette, which really set everything off. I think it has to be addressed. I take a look, you can see it here for the folks that are still with us. The referee still discussing at center ice. I think they're really going to be keen here in this third period. They're really not going to give you much margin for error. Things are going to be called, and I think coaching staff for the Beacons have to address the lack of discipline here going into the third period.
Let's take another video break. We'll take a look at Dom Lozia. I had a chance to interview her back in September. Get to know not only what she wants to do hockey-wise, but her hockey experience, because obviously that's going to mold what she's trying to do here at UMass Boston after spending the last 10 years in the NESCAC Conference, one of the premier women's hockey conferences in the country. We'll take a look at that video. We'll be back with stats, highlights, and a look around the rest of the conference and around the rest of Beaconville. So we're through 40 minutes. It's UMass Boston 4, Stevenson 0.
And they're big shoes to fill, which can be a little daunting, but at the same time, you know that there's a framework for success. And I'm really looking forward to the challenge of continuing to move this program in a positive direction and continuing to increase the expectations. Some of my first observations from being here a little over a week is they're such an excited group. We've come off working so hard over the summer, and everyone is just so excited to get on the ice. I am really looking forward to working with and getting to know them on an individual basis and both as a team. We have a great group of leaders, an awesome group of returners, and a very enthusiastic and talented group of freshmen. So I think October 8th can't come soon enough. I'm really excited with the talent we have coming in and the type of style they play. We're very much a skilled group up front. We have a lot of goal scorers. We have some really solid, reliable defensemen and goaltenders that are going to compete for that starting role. I'm excited to continue with finding that balance of being gritty and also being very skilled, and just very much looking forward to then finding some student athletes soon that will fit into that piece for the next coming years. So when we're looking for student athletes, I'm first looking for good characters, people that are going to really fit in and want to be here, and recognize that the dedication it's going to take to compete at this level and to be impact players at this level. You look for the skilled players. You want people who are strong skaters, strong shooters, but also people who have a good hockey sense. And but the main thing is, you want to make sure they're the right fit and that they really want to be here. We have a great group. The culture already seems to be so strong, and you want to find players that are going to not only enhance the on-ice culture, but the off-ice culture, and want to get involved within the larger school community and even in the larger greater Boston area. So it's been a little bit of a whirlwind for this first bit, getting started and having a pretty long to-do list. But I've been so fortunate to have support. Everyone here has been so helpful, filling me in, Lindsay filling me in as well, and just making sure that I'm caught up to speed and that I'm ready to go. I wanted to make sure that it didn't feel like there was a big transition period, and so the leaders have been awesome, telling me what needs to be done, helping make sure that they're taking on some responsibilities as well. And so we've been mostly focusing on make sure the preseason runs really smoothly to get us going for a really solid start to the year. Just to make sure we're ready for that first game, we're going to really focus on being our own best competition. The systems, those will come, but we need to really focus starting in preseason and into the first few weeks of practices before that scrimmage on October 20th. That just being our own best competition is going to make us a better players, and we're going to be ready for the start.
And welcome back. We apologize for having no audio for the first part of that interview, but if you didn't hear it, you can always hear it on YouTube. Just putting Getting to Know Dom Losey. Our director, sometimes nature calls, and realistically been up here for about 2 hours, so sometimes got to be doing multiple things.
More than we needed to know, but I appreciate your honesty.
I didn't say anything specific. UMass Boston leads Stevenson 4-0 after 40 minutes. Let's take a look at our second period statistics right now, as we just lost graphics, which that happens.
It's always something, huh?
But,
well, we'll talk through it.
Yeah, we'll talk through it. Realistically, we have the stats in front of us. It just makes it easier, and the people at home can look at it rather than us having to spew more information. Matt, I'm going to give you the stats. You tell me what's maybe the biggest surprise. Shots, 20-11 in favor of UMass Boston, just 12-9 in that period.
Surprising it's not more.
Saves, 8 for Katie DeRosa on 8 shots. Annika Carlander, 8 saves on 12 shots. She lasted just 21 minutes. Alyssa DePippo, 11 saves on 11 shots.
Great period for her.
Beacons with 7 penalties for 14 minutes. Stevenson 4 for 8. Stevenson 0 of 7 on the power play. UMass Boston 2 for 4. What's the biggest surprise?
There's your game right there. That last stat you gave. It's just amazing to me that, and again, I think you look at coming into the game in the great first period here, you put up 3, and I just, it doesn't make sense to me why a team would get away and start to take undisciplined penalties and allow Stevenson. I'll tell you what, a good team, and I'm not saying Stevenson's not. I think they're just, it's been a rough night for them, but a good team is going to cost you. No doubt about it. When you take that many penalties, you give that team that many chances at climbing back into a hockey game. It's unwarranted, and it's something that good teams don't do. I think the beauty of it is they're still up 4-0 here. Still a lot to play for. I mean, you've got a goaltender who really stood tall in that second period. A lot of good saves. Her rebound control has been good. We highlighted that, and we talked a little bit about how difficult it is to be a goaltender, but she saw some action there in the second period and was able to come away with a lot of good stops. So I think you still have a lot to play for, and I think the goal for this period, if you're the Beacons, no penalties. Let's try to have a clean period here. 20 minutes. Let's try to stay out of the box. Let's work the clock, maybe get a couple more and get out of here with a win. Like you talked about, no game tomorrow, so plenty of time to kind of reset and watch the video here. But Seth, got to stay out of the box.
There's also probably a team goal as a former goalie to keep a 0. I'm not saying
nice.
That's
clean.
But a 0 up
that's
on
clean.
The scoreboard.
Yes.
Especially for that first game, and when you have a senior starting your first opening night game.
The best part with you, Seth, is I was being very subtle about it. You wanted to direct. You wanted to address it head on. I was being subtle. I said there's a lot to play for. You go right in. Hey.
I never played. I played goalie in soccer and pickup, but
okay.
I'm not superstitious in that way. But I'm not going to say the word that I know you don't want to hear.
You know your track record. I know your track record. Don't say it.
It's better than John Scooter's.
Oh my God, he's even worse.
But right now, while we get our graphics back up, because we should have them momentarily, let's take a look at the highlights. A lot more even in that second period. A couple big saves, not just from DePippo, but also from DeRosa.
Yeah, Peacock, and again, Gallucci with the shot that came through did a really nice job of putting that into an area where Peacock could corral it and tuck that one home. Just had enough to get through. A couple good saves here. And you're going to see, Beacons were really buzzing here. You see only 3 minutes into the period. They had some of that momentum carry over from the first, and then as time, you'll see a good save here from DePippo. But as time went on, just really, this is that one that I think would have loved to seen a shot on goal there. I mean, you're on a breakaway. You got to get that one towards the net. But as time would go on, you're going to see some more Stevenson highlights. The Beacons continuing to pressure here. You're going to see another shot, that one off the crossbar. But then late in this period, Stevenson really pressuring. You're going to see this is that one-on-one here, Leffler down, or 2-on-0 rather, I'm sorry, where, just a little bit of a breakaway and a good save there from Stevenson. But this is really where they turned it on here. These last few highlights are all Stevenson. The 2-on-1 here, a little bit of a mishandle. Backdoor kick save there from DePippo, and then a quick rebound shot and a save. There was no rebound there. And then check out this highlight, a little curl from Stevenson into the zone. Going to find that third forward coming in. That's actually a D-man coming in deep. And, again, that high slot, a challenge for any goaltender. Another great save. You'll notice, again, no rebound. And then here, late in the period, another one off the pipe. This one, short side. Didn't think she had any room. You see it there. She didn't have any room. She created her own room there, close to making it 5-0 for the Beacons. And there you have the second period highlights.
There's a reason that Ellie Felieris is on the top line. And I think I got her name right that time. I apologize to her friends and family because that's the one name that's really stumping me up here.
Sure.
But this is a player that the Beacons, all of these players, I mean, we interact. A lot of them work for us, so they're around the Clark, and we go, how are the freshmen? How are the newcomers? Well, Ellie Felieris and Casey Adamy were two of the players that a lot of players talked about first. Also some really good things about Casey Adamy and some of the other freshmen. But Felieris has some skills. I mean, that was one of the harder shots that we've seen from a Beacon over the last couple of years. So we're still working to get all of our graphics up to date. Let's talk about what else is going on because I have most of it up here.
Okay.
Beacon's women's soccer team, a big comeback win, won on an own goal. 2-1 win up at Keene. So they're a top 3 seed. They'll be hosting on Tuesday night. Likely they could be a top 2 seed, but they won't know that until tomorrow. The men's soccer team currently losing at home on senior day, just about 300 yards outside. Do not want to be out there right now. It is chilly and windy. They trail Keene State 1-0. Cross country in action tomorrow. Rhode Island College. The volleyball team is at Brandeis at 1, and the men's hockey team, they're at Wentworth tomorrow at 7 p.m. And while we have a moment, Matt, really interesting. You were at the exhibition game against the EHL All-Stars.
Yep.
Way too many goals allowed. I think you'd be the first to say it. But a deeper team than a season ago. No Colin Larkin, the National Player of the Year.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how that team adjusts because they do have Wentworth tomorrow, who should be an easier opponent. But then over the next couple of weeks, we'll see New England College, team that's getting national votes. Norwich, a consistent team in the top of the NEHC, and then Hobart, the team picked first towards the end of November.
Yeah.
It's not an easy stretch. The good news is that both the women's and men's team, a lot of home games here at the Barry to start the year.
Yeah, you want to take advantage of those, and I think the big thing there with Wentworth, you mentioned you're playing at a rink that you've had some success. I know the last few times out have really been able to put up some really good numbers offensively, so I think that's a great place for the Beacons to start. Got to come ready. And they've got some questions throughout the lineup, forwards, different line combinations, defensive pairings, and obviously who's going to be the backstop. But I think from a men's perspective, a good chance with Wentworth where challenging enough to give you a true test but not overwhelming. And we'll see what they can do tomorrow night here in the greater Boston area.
Well, we've got to look at the scoring summary because Kelly Danahy just did a lot of work in a very short period.
Thanks, Kelly.
Shout out to our graphics operator. Saw the first period where the Beacons jumped out to that hot start, 3 goals in the first 12 minutes. Then Rachel Peacock scoring 1:04. That was a power play goal as well. So the Beacons with 2 power play goals. And Matt, while we've got a moment, let's get our trivia question in right now because I want to give you some time to stew on this one.
My record stinks.
It's not the hardest
trivia.
of trivia questions.
Stinks.
It's not an easy one because I never give you an easy one.
Yeah.
But this is a little bit more recent for you, which might help. Jane Morrisette enters her senior season with 24 career goals. She's already up to 26 now.
Yeah.
Who were the last 2 players to reach 25 goals, both during the 2015-16 season? So I don't want immediate guesses.
No.
I think one's probably going to get to your head sooner than the second one.
I think I got one.
Okay, who's your one?
No, I'm not going to give it. I want to stew on it here. This is one I should have. Do we have my all-time record? It's not good.
I don't think we want to keep your all-time record.
Yeah, it's not very good. So I should be able to get this one. I think I've got one, like you said. It's going to take – I got to go through the roster a little bit. Do I get a cheat sheet? Do I get a 15-16 roster, or is that I'm asking too much?
Do you really need it? 2015-16, you were a senior in college, so
I should be able to get it.
You were very familiar with that group.
Yeah.
Remember 2015-16 was Lindsey Berman's first year as
right.
interim coach. Beacons won the NEHC, and now in 2018-19, an interim head coach. The Beacons hoping to have similar luck with Dom Losey. That season, I don't remember their opener, but I'd be surprised if they put up 4 in the first 40 minutes.
True.
That was a team that rode Rachel Mayette in the postseason to their first ever conference tournament title. So, 40 minutes gone, 20 to play. UMass Boston has played really well offensively, committed a few too many penalties. We'll see what these last 20 have in store. Stevenson looks to get that first goal of the 2018-19 season, and the Beacons look to close out what would be a statement win here in their opener as DePippo uses the paddle to knock it up into the netting. And we'll see an early face-off here to start the third period.
And again, for the Beacons here, you got 20 minutes left. It's an ugly second, I think. And just get back.
Agree.
Yeah, just get back to what made you successful in that first period there. I mean, you clearly can outskate this Stevenson team. You've got 20 minutes to kind of hit the reset button on your own and try and gets back some of that momentum, maybe end on more of a positive here as Stevenson with some possession early on.
Whitman for Kendrick trying to find Samasco right in front of the net. That top line has looked good at points tonight for Stevenson. They clearly have a ton of talent. Remember, Stevenson lost 7 seniors who played in every game. Their top 2-point scorers in program history, and 4 of their top 6. So offense might take a little bit of time for Tracy Johnson's group. The good news is they're not starting the way they started last year, where they were at Adrian in their Adrian's tournament, where they played Adrian and then eventual national champion Norwich. Then they had to go to Elmira for 2, go to William Smith, which is about as far away from Owings Mill, Maryland, as you could possibly go in hockey. So an easier start this year as Lund tries to get a shot off, had it tipped away, but Colucci joined the rush, and the Beacons keep possession. Lund along the blue line, swipes it through a couple of different players, picked up by Moritz. Moritz tried to get the turn, had that puck swiped away. Good defensive play by Taya Ferreira. Comes all the way back and just past DePippo, who was the first player in program history to go unbeaten in a full season. Went 7-0-2 a year ago. Left off for Harris, who scored the first one in this game. Shot from Saxers tipped wide. Lizzie scored a goal in last week's exhibition game. Shot in front, and Kaylee Kozik denied her first collegiate goal on a brilliant point-blank save from DeRosa.
Yeah, really nice play from the Beacons there. You love to see that. Just a hard pass there from Harris, and she's just putting that into an area, not really looking to put that pass onto the tape, just kind of putting that into an area where you can get a deflection, and a good save by DeRosa, not only to make that stop, but to cover that rebound. A nice play all around.
Well, I wonder just how good that Pittsburgh Penguins elite team was in junior hockey the last couple of years, because the Beacons got Kozik and Felieris from the same program.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be a nice little recruiting link if the Beacons can keep that going, because both of those forwards are on the Beacons' top 2 lines. The 2 freshmen up in the top 2 lines. The other newcomer in the top 3 is sophomore transfer Kelsey Ryan. Leffler behind the net, loses possession for a moment. It was Gruitt who took it away. The Beacons regain possession. Saxer's shot deflected wide. Chasing it down is Beauregard. Beacons get it back, a chance in front, and we're going to get a penalty against Stevenson. But first a look from Grace Fisher that's tipped wide, and the Beacons will go back on the power play for the 5th time today.
Yeah, clearly a penalty there in front. Going to get called for a hook. And as you said, the 5th power play opportunity here for the Beacons, as looks like Barkless will sit on the hook. And the Beacons power play first unit will come out early on here in the third period.
Be interesting to see if the Beacons can add a power play goal. They started really slow a year ago on the man advantage, looking to get off to a much better start. Already 2 for 4. Moritz for Morrisette already has 2, but her shot gets knocked down off of Harris. And then Moritz keeps it alive for Morrisette. Morrisette from the circle trying to slide it through for Harris, and it's Colucci who has a player fall down behind her. That was Whitman. Beacons with 3 players in there against 1 Stevenson player. They regain possession. Out top for Moritz. For Morrisette. Right back for Edie. Edie takes a shot that's deflected wide. A lot of traffic in front of DeRosa there. 30 seconds gone by on the man advantage, and the clearance comes from Sumako, the top line center and captain.
And some good puck movement there from the Beacons, working it around the perimeter. Stevenson really just packing the house, giving them anything from distance, trying not to allow anything from in tight. And you see the Beacons using that to their advantage, getting pucks around the perimeter and then finding those little gaps, trying to get pucks in. As Morrisette will take a shot off the wall, and a pretty easy stop there by DeRosa. But, you know, work things off the perimeter, a couple passes, and then get those shots or get those passes through that center top of the crease area. And you can see a couple shots on goal here from the Beacons as the second unit will come out.
His second unit scored the Beacons' last goal just about a minute and 4 seconds in to the second period, as the Beacons have scored 2 of their 4 goals on the man advantage. Peacock, who scored that last goal, her first of her junior season, handles it behind the net over for Beauregard, one of the Beacons' top scorers from a year ago. Tries to go through a couple of players, found the stick of a Beacon, but it's cleared away, and now a chance going the other way for Maddie Ricci. Ricci has it tapped away by Beauregard, but she's going to be called for the penalty. Maddie Ricci has used that speed as a penalty killer twice to draw a penalty on the Beacons, go to 4-on-4, and Ricci's been one of the more impressive players. I know we talked about Perello a little bit, some of the top line players, but I mean, Ricci as a penalty killer has made the biggest difference for this Stevenson team.
Yeah, just a really heads-up play there. You know, shooting the gap there. She found a little bit of a lane. The puck got through, was able to get it on her stick, and, you know, forcing that call. Beauregard didn't really have a choice, had to take her down. Otherwise, it would have been a breakaway. And Stevenson going on some 4-on-4 here will get a power play on the back end of that penalty.
About a minute and 30 difference between the two penalties, so Stevenson will get their 8th power play of the day, although this one will be abbreviated like 1 or 2 of their previous opportunities. They were unable to score on a 5-on-3, which pretty much ended this game because that came late in the second with the Mustangs down 2-0. Controlled here by Harris. Harris flipping it over for Moritz just shy of the blue line. She'll come in with 2 seconds left on the 4-on-4. Moritz looking for a shot, but she instead wisely holds onto it. Backhand feed for Gallucci, who almost wasn't going to be there in time. Down to a minute 20 on the man advantage for Stevenson as they look to pick up a goal and get their footing here in 2018-19. Harris amongst 4 black shirts, unable to get there, but an errant pass into the neutral zone, and the Beacons will kill some more clock. I feel like Stevenson has only really been able to set up and get some good looks on 1 or 2 of their 7 power plays coming into this one.
Yeah, the Beacons have done a good job, forcing Stevenson to have to make some pretty difficult passes. They haven't proven they can do it, so the Beacons continue as that pass is intercepted there, center ice. But once Stevenson proves they can make those passes, they will, as that shot underneath the pad almost went in. Morrisette quickly gets out of any dangerous area. It's a good shot there through the defenseman, used it as a screen, almost snuck that one in. But as I was saying, you know, the Beacons just continue to force Stevenson to make those distance passes, and they haven't proven they can do it. So the Beacons continue to maintain that coverage. So we'll get an in-zone draw here. Referees discussing, again, not sure quite what. Been a lot of discussions here, Seth. Some pretty routine plays that, let's see here.
Well, it's a bit of a new referee group. Frank Murphy, Colin Briggs are 2 referees. I don't remember those guys from past years. Then we've got Nonda Silpokis, definitely the first time we've seen Nonda as one of our linesmen, and Mark Knapp Jr. I mean, it's been a while since we've had hockey season, but I'm pretty sure this is the first time a lot of these guys have done a game here at the Barry. It's down to 26 seconds to go on the abbreviated man advantage for Stevenson. Shot, and it's tipped into the net by DePippo. She was trying to guide it to the near boards and instead knocks it in as Stevenson gets the consolation goal. The shutout bit is over. Never used the word. But that's going to be frustrating there as it's the freshman Nikki Kendrick credit with the goal. But really, it's a little bit of an own goal there as DePippo couldn't quite redirect it where she wanted.
Yeah, you'll see it here in the replay. This is a shot from distance. I think DePippo would agree. She wants this one back. That's a shot from well outside the top of the circle. And like you said, just trying to guide that one into the corner. I think it might have been a little bit higher than she had initially thought. And instead of guiding it into the corner, she guides it into her own net. I think she only got a fraction of the puck versus all of it.
And Tracy Johnson still having a conversation with one of our referees. This is a little bit strange. I don't quite know what the argument is here. You just scored a goal. But Stevenson now 1 for 8 on the power play. And a little bit of life. Still 14:39 to go. Comeback isn't impossible at this point, but certainly they need a few more things to go their way. There's a shot from distance, and DePippo gets down this time and clearly sends it to the boards. Frustrating one for Alyssa, who's worked so hard to earn this start. She's played really well today, making some much tougher saves, as that's going to be an icing, and we'll go back down the Beacon's end.
Yeah, you said it, and there seems to be, I'll tell you, the one thing I'm noticing with the Beacons, some of the body language, just a simple, just a missed pass there, Morrisette on the icing, but you can see, on the way back, some long faces, long strides, and when you have a team like this with Stevenson, you really don't want to give them any life. I'll tell you what, 4-1 by no means is a comeback out of the stretch of the imagination, and the Beacons continue to allow for it. I mean, they've really been able to dominate, but all their mistakes are starting to come back now as Stevenson on the board, only a 3-goal lead.
Colucci over from Morrisette as the Beacons try a 3-on-3. Morrisette has player behind her and leaves it off. That's Felieris. Felieris keeps control of the puck behind the net. Felieris still holding it, leaves it off for Colucci. A little bit of contact there. Centering feed for Janessa Hernandez. Skips over her stick, and Stevenson able to clear the zone. Gets underneath Colucci, but icing waved off. The long stretch pass for Hernandez, able to find the tape there of King. She wasn't able to quite hang on, but that's certainly a play they work on in practice. Now it's King behind the net, leaving it off for Peacock. Peacock, one of 3 Beacons who scored in this game. Up top for Colucci. Colucci down low, has 2 players in the vicinity amongst 2 Mustangs defenders. Centering feed for Peacock, but she couldn't quite handle it. Center shot wide off of a Stevenson defender. Good speed the other way from Allie Gibson, but Colucci wins the foot race and able to get there as she tries to get through a couple of Mustang players.
Yeah, that's a really nice play there by Colucci as this puck's towards the center. But a really good play by Colucci to get back and support her defensive partner there. As you can see, really needed all of that speed to get back and not create a scoring opportunity for Stevenson as that shot on goal is turned aside by DeRosa. But a nice heads-up play by Colucci. You see the veteran presence there on D.
Yeah, give some credit to the senior goalie for Stevenson. Ever since DeRosa came on about a minute into the second period, she hasn't allowed a goal, and she's made a couple of nice saves to keep this game at a 4-goal and now 3-goal deficit. Fisher, who's looked pretty good skating with the puck today, right onto the tape of Ryan. Ryan has 2 options to the left. Ryan still with it, centering feed, looking for Leffler, Beauregard in front, and she scores! The Beacons get it back. It's 5-1 on the first of the season from Kaylee Beauregard.
Yeah, really nice play by the Beacons there. It looked like started pretty simply in the neutral zone, then all of a sudden they had what looked like to be a 3-on-1 and just a simple play towards the front of the net. You funnel it there. When you've got 2 forwards like that, you really don't have to make it a direct pass. You'll see on the replay here, just going to be a nice little backhand towards the center, not really sending that to anyone. It's going to be tipped, and then Beauregard as the third forward is going to tuck that home. That's just a really nice play, putting a puck to an area where your forwards can get it. And Beauregard tucks it home to get back that 4-goal lead. Now 5-1 Beacons here in the third period.
Kendrick was the first goal scorer for Stevenson. A couple looks in front. Finally the whistle before the puck went in as Samasco was still fighting for it. A couple of nice looks there from DePippo. Getting my goalies mixed up. and that was a great effort from Kendrick and then Samasco to follow it up. But the referee clearly blew the whistle before that puck entered the zone, and we had a great angle at it.
Yeah, and a huge shift from Stevenson. What a way to answer. You come right back down with a great odd man rush. You almost get one there. That puck was loose for a while, and DePippo with a really good, at least 1, maybe 2 saves there, was fortunate to get the whistle as that puck did eventually end up in the back of the net as Stevenson was crashing hard. But a good stop and no goal there, fortunately for DePippo and the Beacons. Still a 5-1 hockey game.
Second time tonight Stevenson has scored a goal that's been wiped up by a whistle. Both times I think they made the right call, especially the first time when there were 2 players in the net with DePippo as the puck went in. This time the referee just couldn't find the puck. There was a lot of traffic in the crease right in front of DePippo as the faceoff will stay in the Beacons' end. 5v5 with 11:54 to go. The Beacons scored the first 4 goals in this one, gave up a goal about 3 or 4 minutes ago, and then answered on Kaylee Beauregard's first, her 50th career point as a Beacon.
Good save by DePippo there. That puck was redirected on the way in, Seth.
Denying Sumasco, and now a shot from the point. That's Carly McGee who's denied. DePippo's looked really good in this one after only seeing 2 shots in the first period.
Yeah, Stevenson with some momentum here, some pressure. Beacons could really use this puck to get out of the zone. They failed to clear there.
Well, it's their top 3 forwards and their top 2 defensemen who have been providing all the pressure as they're in the midst of a change, getting some of that second line out there. Chance to clear from Moritz over for Harris. She's digging away at it. And now a lot of time for Kozik, who will clear the zone.
Stevenson with full momentum. They've got the Beacons on their heels a little bit here. Still, that goal is huge for the Beacons, getting it back to 4, but another save there from DePippo. But Stevenson really putting the pressure. This is the fastest they've looked all night.
Well, another look from Nikki Kendrick, the player to watch on the UCHC, one of 3 for Stevenson, but the freshman out of Islip, New York. We're seeing why she was a highly touted prospect out of the Northwood School. Beacons handling on the near side. Galucci off the boards a bit too far from Morrisette, and now Stevenson has numbers going the other way. Pass picked away by Saxer. Left it off for Felieris, and now it's a foot race, and Morrisette doesn't lose many of those. Morrisette behind the net has options, looking, still holding on to it, and now she'll turn, has 2 goals in this one. Had 2 goals early on in this one in the first 11 minutes, still looking for that hat trick as that centering feed fluttered in front before finding the stick of a Mustang. Kept alive by Galucci. Felieris with it, holds, sends it back to the blue line for Galucci, near side for Saxer. Beacon still waiting to get that fifth skater on. It's Peacock who's chasing it down with Lund. Peacock takes it off the stick of her own teammate. Rachel out top for Saxer, but not quite enough behind the pass, and it's tipped out of the zone. A great diving effort there by Allison Barlow.
Yeah, really great play. Beacons had some really good possession time there in the offensive zone, and just a last-ditch effort. As a turnover here, and a nice save by DePippo. No rebound. Bad turnover for the Beacons. Can't have that in the slot there. Tell you what, DePippo's been tested. Second period and third period. This has not been as easy a game as it looked in the first period. That's another good stop there and a turnover, a quick possession change. She was at the top of her crease, made a nice stop.
Yeah, one a bad turnover picked away by Trinity Barclays, and Barclays still aiming for that first goal of her season after having 10 points as a freshman. Third line stays out there for Stevenson. It's Gibson. Gibson tries to slide it over for a teammate, picked away. And now it's handled by Adamy. Adamy with good speed for the defenseman. All the way down along the goal line behind the net, still looking for an option. This is a good sign for the Beacons. Anytime you have a puck-moving defenseman, but you're not happy with the pass.
Yeah, well, just would have loved to seen her fired. She did all that work getting into his zone, and I don't think she recognized that she had a couple forwards there charging the net. Would have loved to seen her just kind of fire that one either in a general area or on net, try to get a rebound. Instead, try to take it around the net, look for that perfect pass. And next thing you know, it's a turnover. It's out of the zone. Just one of those coaching moments. Says, we're going to get a penalty here, Seth.
Yeah,
another one. That might be 2.
I don't know if you can give Adamy a second one there. That looked like she got the stick in before the penalty. But let's see who's heading to the box. I think this is power play number 9, and it looks like Kaylee Beauregard, who just scored the goal, is heading to the box for the second time today.
Yeah, just again, more of the same here. And some disappointment, and great, just a reaction there from Beauregard, I think tells the whole story. Just kind of, what are we doing here, girls? I mean, again, momentum, you get a little bit back, you finally get some flow to the game, you have a couple shifts in the offensive zone, and now you go right back on the penalty kill, which fortunately for the Beacons has been good today.
Sarah King is out there alongside Edie Moritz, as Beauregard is typically one of those 4 forwards who kills off penalties. Got an icing on a power play, which is pretty much a cardinal sin. Mustangs have not looked great on the power play today.
But just getting back to that Ademy play, just a freshman, she did all that work, and I love to see it, using that speed, a great stride, getting into the zone, and don't be afraid. Credit yourself with a shot on goal where you can. I know she's trying to find that perfect pass there and take it behind the net. Not necessarily a bad play, but just would have loved to seen her get that puck towards the net after all that hard work getting it into the zone.
Whitman out top for Stork, goes right back. Kendrick's shot, high rebound, comes all the way out, and then DePippo couldn't hold on to the rebound, but got some help from Bree Colucci on the clearance. Stevenson still in the offensive zone, 40 gone by on the power play. Stork, another shot just wide of the outstretched leg of DePippo. Stevenson player lost her footing, and clearing it away is Sarah King.
Stevenson has really come on. I think each and every period. The first, they were looking a little bit behind the Beacons, and then the second period picked it up a little bit here in the third. I mean, they've really had some good scoring opportunities. We saw it late in the second period. DePippo had to come away with a lot of good stops, and then here in this third period, they're putting themselves together here. You can see clearly a better team than what we saw early on.
Perella to the near side for Ricci. Her feed goes all the way across. Morrisette picks it up. Two Stevenson players are on top of each other behind the net. Beacons for a moment there had a 4-on-3 as Ricci and I think it was Perella were literally pancaked on top of each other behind Alyssa DePippo in the Beacons cage. Stevenson, for whatever reason, has really struggled to keep their edge here at the Barrys. There's a high shot in the glove save off of the look from Allison Barlow.
Well, and it failed clear there. You know, that's an instance where you take a couple extra strides. You can put that off of a glass pane where the defense really just doesn't have a chance to get it. It goes out to the neutral zone. You're out of the zone. Instead, you try to just fire it hard. If you don't have the strength to do it, it makes it really easy. That glass just kills the puck and allows the defense to corral it. And you saw it ended up being a shot on goal. And I don't know if it was quite a scoring opportunity, but it definitely a good save by DePippo into the glove. Still 18 seconds on this power play.
Quick look off the face-off win by Gruitt, but she sent it well wide, and now Gallucci will skate out with it. Send it down the length of the ice, as that'll just about do it. Down to 7 seconds left on Stevenson's power play. They just have not been crisp enough on the man-up opportunity today. They've had close to 10 looks, but I don't believe they've scored. I think that one goal was even strength. Maybe it was a power play goal.
Yeah, I have to go back and check. I'm not sure.
It's Lizzie Saxter battling a player. Both players go down. No penalty this time. Picked up by Ryan behind the net. Ryan tries to sneak it in along the near post. Denied by DeRosa. Now Colucci tees up a shot, but it's knocked down off the stick of Sabatini.
I like the wraparound there from Ryan. Didn't really have an outlet pass and just decided, okay, well, hey, I'm already at the net. Might as well try to jam one home. I like that play.
Beacons keep it in the zone, but Stevenson has a player to the near side. That's McInnesby, who loses it. Beauregard kick save on a difficult, tricky look going to the far post.
I'll tell you what, she can really fire the puck. That was a tough stop for DeRosa.
Colucci through traffic, knocked down by her own player. Leffler who tips it wide. Under 6 to play. The Beacons lead 5-1. They've led by 4 or more goals for the majority of this one. Chance in front. Beauregard couldn't quite get it to it. Now a turnaround shot. Puck's loose in front. Colucci's there. Leffler's there. And the puck doesn't go in.
Still loose, Seth. No whistle.
Leffler centering feed for Colucci. Another shot. It's deflected wide. No one knows where it is but Colucci. And the puck flutters over to the near side. A chance to clear by McInnesby. And she finally gets out of the zone. But will everyone try to go to the bench? All but one player does. And the Beacons bring it right back in. Hernandez floats one in. And a critical glove save there if you're DeRosa to settle things down.
Yeah, Beacons all over him. I mean, that's about as close as you can come to scoring a goal without actually putting it over the goal line. I'm not sure from our angle, we didn't have a great vantage point as to where that puck actually was. Referees saw enough of it not to blow the whistle. Beacons with a late change here, but you said it, Seth. I mean, that's a great couple shifts there from the Beacons and a great in-zone draw here. As they win it, looks like they're going to get a little bit more possession time.
And the Beacons will keep that fourth line out there of Hernandez, King, and Peacock. They haven't scored as a line. Peacock scored on the man advantage, that second unit. Fisher barely able to keep it in, but does so. Her wraparound pass comes all the way out to Gallucci on the far side. Hernandez slips it up for King. A little bit of a hand pass, finds its way to Peacock. They say play on. Coming the other way with speed is Kendrick, who scored the lone goal thus far for Stevenson earlier on in this period. Gallucci backhand feed that's tipped away. Puck still loose, and it comes out in front, and Kendrick is denied once again by Alyssa DePippo, who's looked very good in her first ever opening night start at the college level.
That's a bad turnover by the Beacons there into that slot, and they're fortunate that wasn't a better scoring opportunity than what we saw there. DePippo still had to come away with a save, but that's a high scoring area as this puck will go out of play, and we'll get an in-zone draw as it was not deflected.
All right, so we still haven't answered our trivia question.
Oh, trivia time.
So we're not going to show the answer quite yet, but you had one immediately.
I'm going M. Howard,
okay.
Emily Howard, and Alyssa Sullivan. They're going to be my two.
For 2015, 2016.
It was total points, right?
No. 25 goals.
Oh, goals. Oh, my God, I'm thinking points.
All right, so I'm going to give you a second stab at it.
All right, we're back to action here. Let me see if I can get one quick.
Our next stoppage, we're showing the answer. 2015, 2016. Both of those players had graduated by that point.
I'm not even in the right zone here.
Let me give you one last clue.
Yeah.
Alexander Carlis was a fifth-year senior on that 2015-16 team.
So a little bit of a trick question, I guess. Do I get coverage on that? A little bit of a trick. Is she one of them?
She's not one of them, but she was on that team. So think about who was on that team while we still think about this particular game.
I got to get one quick here. I don't know. I'm not even on the right roster. I told you I needed a roster. I'm not even on the right roster here.
Well, that's why I'm putting you on the right roster.
Oh, jeez. All right.
Beacons win the face-off. Remember, the question was,
goals, and I'm thinking points. I'm not even close.
Morrisette came into this season with 24 career goals. Now has 26. He scored 2 in this one.
Yeah.
Who were the last 2 players, coincidentally both during the 2015-2016 season, to reach the 25-goal mark? So we've got yet another whistle, and I think it's going to be a Beacon heading to the penalty box.
Let's see here. Penalty.
I believe it's going to be Kozik.
And again, just more of the same here. Just a real, there's only so many times you can describe it, but you're playing a team, you're clearly outmatched, and you've done a great job. You've got a 5-1 lead here in the third period, and just more of the same. I'd be very curious as we talk in the postgame, Seth, what the coaching staff, how they're going to address these penalties. I mean, they're really just allowing Stevenson time and time again to climb back into this hockey game and have really given them every chance. I mean, the 2-minute 5-on-3, and now here again a late penalty here late in the third period.
Well, it was Edie Moritz who was honestly laughing as she went to the box. She did not agree with that call. But again, I mean, a really good first 11 minutes. The Beacons outscored Stevenson 3-0. They dominated the shots. They dominated the opportunities. Penalties have been an issue since about the 8-minute mark left in the first period. Chance up top for Stork, who whiffs on the shot. Beacons have a chance to clear, and they'll do so
good out
with
there,
Morrisette.
Yeah, good out, but a really great play by Gallucci to break up that 2-on-1.
is in on net. The freshman backhand shot, and it's saved by DeRosa, and she holds on.
Gallucci with a great job down there, and go ahead, Seth. I know you're itching to give the trivia. I'm way out in right field. I'll go Embry. Is that one?
I'm not telling you whether you're right. But
just give him the answer already.
The answer is Samantha Fallon.
Jenny Curry.
Jenny Curry was the big-time goal scorer on the line with Embry and Carlos.
Should have had that one. Wouldn't have gotten Fallon. Sorry, Sam. I didn't know you had 29 goals. That's very impressive. Should have had Curry.
Remember, she had 17 goals, I want to say, as a sophomore. Was a big-time player, an all-region player as a sophomore. Played most of her final 2 years as a defenseman, so it was a little harder to score. But yes, 2 players that year.
Wow.
Beacons have a chance to have a couple more players as Kaylee Beauregard, I believe, comes in with 23 goals entering this season. Now she's at 24. Leffler, a beautiful little bit of stick work, but can't handle it. Down to 45 on the man advantage. The Beacons almost look like they're on the power play. Saxer around a player, backhand feed towards the front, and it's cleared out to center ice, so the Beacons have Gallucci waiting for it.
Yeah, smart play by Gallucci here, just eat some clock. And like you said, seems like Beacons won with the advantage here. Just it might not be a lot left in the tank. Stevenson really, and I'll tell you what, turned it on here late in the third. Really, and not even just late in the third, late in the second really had some sparks along the way. Just really couldn't put it together against the Beacons team that still a little bit outmatched tonight. A little Beacons team, I think a little bit more prepared. Obviously didn't have to travel, which might have played a larger factor than we had originally thought. But Beacon's team looked good in a lot of facets. I think the speed, the passing, but the lack of discipline, another save there by DeRosa, the lack of discipline. And
lots of chances in front, and that one I think hit the bar. First time we've seen Julia Nolan tonight, who's one of the extra skaters for the Beacons. She's out there with Caitlin Parrott as the Beacons had 14 forwards tonight and just the 5 defensemen. It's the first time we've seen the 2 extra forwards nearly scored a goal there as Nolan, I think, caught the far post. Going the other way with it, it's Allison Gibson. Gibson unable to score. The other thing, Matt, is can't emphasize enough. Stevenson lost 7 players who played every game. The Beacons lost 5 seniors,
that's true,
which hurts. But one of them was a goalie, and they had quite a few good goalies in store. So a little bit less to replace in the lineup, and the Beacons had a few more players who were used to the college game.
Yeah, and you know what? I think also as a
bad turnover
there.
And it's Kendrick in front and an easy goal from Kellen Whitman. UMass Boston has a lot to work on before Tuesday because they have made some really bad plays in their own zone this last 20 minutes.
Yeah, again, you saw the reaction from Gallucci. Just she knows better. It's a really bad spot to turn over the puck there, and the coaching staff immediately addresses it. Unfortunate for DePippo, as those will affect the stats a little bit. Nothing she could do there as a 2-on-0. Made the initial save. A rebound just tucked home, as you see there on the replay. But, yeah, that goes back. I was talking about the lack of discipline, and I think, as good as the Beacons have looked, I mean, there's just a lot here. that we've seen tonight, where you're kind of just scratching your head, how a team could be this polarizing on opening night for the regular season. Again, I think it's more positives than negatives. Obviously, with it being 5-2 here, you're going to walk out of here with a W to start the season. But boy, oh boy, the penalties and the turnovers and just unforced errors, I think would be the theme for the negative side tonight for the Beacons, and I'm sure will be addressed throughout practice this week.
Sumasco trying to get around. Sacks are there. And remember, the Beacons, they have off tomorrow, but they play a very good Endicott team that was receiving votes in the national poll at Endicott on Tuesday. That's a team that beat them last year in the Codfish Bowl finale. I think they scored in overtime. I think it was men's who lost in the last 13 seconds of regulation.
Yeah.
Women's who lost in overtime because it's the Codfish Bowl. The Beacons are going to lose.
Always something.
But that's a really good Endicott side, and that's a team that if you make the mistakes you made tonight, they're going to punish you. Whereas Stevenson only kind of pushed the Beacons a little. They didn't punish the Beacons for their mistakes.
Yeah, I would agree. I think a good team there, you're probably looking at a much different score. The Stevenson team, like you said, maybe in a little bit of an overused term, but a rebuild, losing some of those upperclassmen. But, you saw it here tonight. Beacons team that looked really good, came out strong, and for 3 periods here, clearly offensively, that's going to be their strong suit. They really looked good, but boy, oh boy, I mean, the penalty count was way high, and just a lot of turnovers. Unforced errors continue, and they have some things to address for sure moving forward.
At the same point, we're talking about the negatives. It's a 5-2 win against a team that made it to their conference championship game a year ago. Yep. It's the first game under Dom Losey, and the Beacons came out firing.
Congrats to her.
And these new uniforms today.
Fantastic. Big
shout out to equipment manager Miles Berry, who drove all the way to some random town in Massachusetts that I can't remember because I'm not from this state, but literally got there about 2.5 hours before the game, drove back, got them for the girls. So big shout out to Miles, who does so much behind the scenes. A lot of people who didn't go to school here don't even know all the work that Miles Berry, the Beacons equipment manager, puts in. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be back with the final stats, an interview with Dom Losey and our #1 star, and then we'll wrap up here at the Edward T. Barry Ice Rink.
Imagine yourself at one of fewer than 300 prestigious research universities in the country, located on a peninsula overlooking the Boston Harbor, just minutes from downtown Boston. Imagine what it would be like to be a student here.
I imagine myself succeeding in the business world.
I imagine taking advantage of all the clinical opportunities in Boston.
Want to go into the police force for a little bit and ultimately end up either working for the Department of Homeland Security or the Department of ICE.
I imagine studying biology, working hand in hand with the professor.
There are many reasons students are attracted to UMass Boston. Just imagine the opportunity to participate in research, live and learn in Boston, and to experience true diversity.
Our researchers have expanded the research enterprise admirably over the last decade. They have engaged in important environmental stewardship. They are at the frontiers of the life sciences and public health.
Being in Boston is a huge advantage, not just to someone like me who's a researcher, but actually to our students.
I started working for Dr. McCoska since my sophomore year, my ending sophomore year, and now I'm going to my senior year, so it's been a very nice journey.
School for the Environment is becoming really one of the premier, or if not the premier, coastal environmental sciences programs in the country. The natural laboratory is 5 minutes away for us. The undergraduates and the graduate students can jump on the T or walk out the door or drive 5 minutes and grab sediment samples and vegetation and talk to watershed associations. It's really a wonderful opportunity for our students here with this location.
UMass Boston shares the peninsula with the Edward M. Kennedy Institute for the United States Senate and the John F. Kennedy Library and Museum. Just imagine an internship with one of these organizations or a Fortune 500 company.
There's no location like UMass Boston.
It's so close to the Innovation District, the 4-Point Channel. You can just hop on the Red Line and get there.
I like the fact that Boston is near the water.
I was a legislative intern for Senator Elizabeth Warren in Washington, D.C. And I was there, in the Senate. It made me feel good about myself. It made me feel like I could do so much more. There's so much more out there and ahead of me.
After my internship at Ernst & Young this past summer, I was offered a full-time position to join their risk advisory practice, where I'll be doing part-time security consulting and part-time risk advisory consulting. And I never would have had this opportunity had it not been for UMass Boston.
Imagine what it will be like to interact with students from 150 countries.
You meet people from everywhere. That's the best thing about the school.
Here there's a lot of international students, so it's really cool to meet people from different countries, different parts of the world.
We also have students here at UMass Boston who come to us from Texas, from Alabama, from Georgia, from California. And I often ask them, like, what brings you here? And it's always Boston. And then when they come here, they realize UMass Boston.
I decided to come to UMass Boston from the West Coast because, look at it. We've got the ocean, it's beautiful. I'm getting a really great education at great value. I couldn't be happier to be here.
This is what the world looks like. It's here at UMass Boston.
And now, imagine doing all of this at a campus that is buzzing with more than 100 clubs and organizations, 18 NCAA athletic teams, and concerts and films galore. Whether you're interested in studying abroad or doing service work over alternative spring break, we have something for everyone.
Starting my first semester here, I was assistant coordinator of Casa Latina. Second semester, I was promoted to coordinate my own center, the Student Wellness Center.
Being on the track and field team here is the greatest decisions I've made besides coming to UMass Boston.
I came here from the University of Michigan to develop and direct the Center for Personalized Cancer Therapy. What is, I think, really great about the CPCT is that it's actually a joint venture between UMass Boston and the Dana-Farber Harvard Cancer Center.
We're able to bring researchers from Dana-Farber with expertise in cancer care, cancer research, and experts from UMass Boston in various aspects of science and sociology, and to really build bridges and partnerships designed to do wonderful, innovative research.
Because of the facilities that we were able to put together through the Center for Personalized Cancer Therapy, we're able to attract very high-level junior investigators from the Dana-Farber Harvard Cancer Center. Most recently, Dr. Shalja Pathania.
I work on BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes. The women have mutations in these genes. They have almost 80% chance of getting breast cancer. We now have, or will have for the first time, an insight into why these cells are becoming tumor cells. And having that information is critical in designing the preventive or even therapeutic strategies that can help reduce BRCA1 cancer or BRCA2 cancer. I have the right kind of collaborators around me. It's a perfect recipe to do some very innovative research that pushes the science further.
For our project, there's no way we could do this work without the partnership of UMass Boston and the diversity that it brings and the expertise and community-based research.
I think that UMass Boston has a little different position in developing the STEM pipeline than the private universities do.
We started a program with UMass Boston called Set Sail for Success to help first-year students in the College of Nursing and Health Sciences. One of the aspects about partnering with UMass Boston that was especially important to us at Harvard Pilgrim is the fact that its student population that it educates and that graduates stay in this area.
We have a really tremendous group of young, promising minority students. I have no doubt that they have a bright future, whether it's in cancer research or clinical care or leadership or community activism.
Those are the kinds of leaders that we need in the Commonwealth. And we're going to be ready with open arms and hands once they graduate from UMass Boston. The opportunities are there, and UMass Boston is really making a difference to make them be ready.
And welcome back to the Edward T. Barry Ice Rink. The Beacons a 5-2 winner on opening night. UMass Boston scored the first 4 goals. Stevenson outscored the Beacons 2-1 in the third. Quickly, let's take a look at the final statistics as the Beacons outshot in that third period 13-10. They outshoot the Mustangs 30-24 for the game. 22 saves on 24 shots for Alyssa DePippo. On the other side, Annika Carlander took the loss, 8 saves on 12 shots. Katie DeRosa made 17 saves on 18 shots. The Beacons finished the game 2 for 5 on the power play. Stevenson 1 for 10. Beacons with 10 penalties for 20 minutes. UMass Boston heavily wins the face-off battle, 40 of 56. take a look at our scoring summary. UMass Boston jumped out to a big lead, 3 goals in the first 11 minutes and 16 seconds. Emily Harris scored the first one. Jane Morrisette, a power play goal, and then the game-winning goal 11-16 into the contest. Rachel Peacock, a power play goal, 1:04 into the second. In the third, it was that top line for Stevenson. Kendrick, the freshman, with her first collegiate goal, 5:14 into the period. Kaylee Beauregard answered just over 2 minutes later to make it 5-1. And then as we move over to that second scoring summary, didn't think we were going to get there today. It was Kellen Whitman, who had 10 goals a season ago, scoring with just 36 seconds left off the shot from Kendrick, who finishes her first collegiate contest with a goal and an assist. Right now, we're going to take a 30-second commercial break, and we'll be back with our number 1 star of the game. UMass Boston earned a 5-2 victory.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
We're here with our player of the game, Alyssa DePippo. Pip, congrats, first win of the year. Nice to get started with a W. What was it like going into the game today? I know you had the exhibition game, but first regular season, what was the mentality coming in?
It was good. It was just work hard and keep going for a full 60 minutes. I think for the most part, we did that. We had a couple little lapses there, but overall, I think it was a good first W.
Yeah, we saw the first period was pretty light, and then second period it turned it up a little bit, and then obviously the third period had to make some really big saves. How are you staying engaged mentally? We were talking a little bit on the broadcast how challenging that can be. What were you doing in the first period just trying to stay engaged? I think you only had 1 shot on goal for the period.
Yeah, I just try and keep watching the puck, and I skate around the net in the whistles and try and just keep my head in there and not think about anything else.
Got to stay loose
Yeah.
one way or the other.
Yeah.
Well, a good win. We noticed, the one thing, a lot of penalties tonight, and, we noticed definitely offensively you guys were there. Were you guys saying anything in the locker room after, first, second period, trying to keep yourself focused and not turn this into, a complete disaster as Stevenson continued to try and come back in this game?
Yeah, I think our big thing in the locker room was stay out of the box. We need to work on that, keep our feet moving. But that 5-on-3 was brutal.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, but we did our job tonight.
You got the W, and congratulations. Hopefully more this season.
Thank you.
We'll be back after this. I told you I'd get you in and out.
My name is Tyler Hart. Being on the track and field team here is various decisions I've made besides coming to UMass Boston. When you train together in that sort of intensity, you build a bond with people who are training with you. It's like on a higher level of friendship. It's like teammates, it's just a different level. My freshman year, I got a Rookie Athlete of the Year. Outdoor, for my sophomore year, I was the first time I went to nationals. When I jump, it's a little difficult considering I have a hereditary disorder known as amblyopia.
There we go.
It's pretty much just a partial blindness in the left eye. The best way to describe it is if you have decent prescriptions for contact lenses, you take one of the lenses out, and then you close the...
Joined by head coach Dom Lozzi. After your first win, Coach, a lot of good things from this one. Certainly a couple things you're going to work to fix, but your first collegiate game, you get out to a 3-0 start. You probably couldn't ask for much more out of your team. How nice was it to get off to that hot start to maybe take a little bit of pressure off, especially some of those freshmen who were playing in their first collegiate game?
Yeah, even though we had a scrimmage, last week, obviously this feels a little different. So it was nice to start off fast and get some offensive opportunities. It helped, but then we got a little trouble with penalties, so we need to clean that up.
A little trouble, maybe a lot of trouble. 10 penalties on the day, not something you were looking to do, but Alyssa DePippo, our number 1 star, was a big reason why those penalties didn't hurt quite as much. You said that this would be Pip's game and that we would see Katie Flagg on Tuesday. Obviously, Alyssa would like that first goal back, but with the exception of that one, she played really well and was your best penalty killer. How nice was it to see her? This was her first opening day start as a college player and seemed to be really calm throughout a contest that at points it was a little difficult for you guys.
No, she did great, especially, we gave up a lot of chances on the PK, and, she came up big for us, and I'm sure it felt great for her to get some of those big stops and keep us in. could have put a few away and been a much tighter game. But yeah, we definitely got in a little bit of trouble there.
With that, was it something, and we saw the refs talk a lot to their bench rather than to your bench, was it something that maybe was different than you saw against Becker, or maybe the referees were calling things a little tighter than maybe you would have anticipated, or was it just you guys maybe being a little bit more over-aggressive than you needed to be?
We got a lot of holding penalties and stick infractions, which I didn't expect coming in when I feel like we have some speed on our team, so you wouldn't really expect that as much. But I think they're going to call it a little tighter, especially a game versus scrimmage. So we got to clean that up and use our feet.
On a personal moment, what does this feel like? You've been in that second seat for the last couple of seasons. Your first game, you get that victory against a quality opponent, a team that made it to their conference championship game last year.
Oh, it's great. It's, a good start to the season, and I think, we know that we need to raise the level play, but it was great to start off and get a W, even though, we wish we could have get some of those penalties back and clean it up a little bit.
Well, we'll look for a cleaner performance on Tuesday, another quality side in Endicott before you start conference play.
Yeah, they'll be a good test for us for sure.
Thanks so much for your time, Dom.
Moving from Turkey, it was a rough journey for me because when you don't really speak the language that well and when you don't really fit in the crowd, it's very easy to disappear. But I decided not to give up, and UMass helped me.
The University of Massachusetts Boston, with its scenic oceanfront campus, easily accessible to downtown Boston, is recognized as a model of excellence for urban public universities. 16 NCAA Division III sports are part of the more than 100 student organizations that create an engaging campus life in America's biggest and best college town. UMass Boston, Boston's urban public research university for the 21st century.
Joined one final time by Matt Meisenbacher for this women's hockey season opener. Let's take a look at the highlights. A couple goals from Stevenson and the Beacons. Goal in between that kind of put the Mustangs' comeback chances away.
Yeah, a couple saves out of the gate here, and you'll see Morrisette get a shot on goal there. It was a good save. That one almost went in, actually, under the pad of DeRosa. I think as you're watching these highlights, you got some good stuff from DePippo and, the coaching staff there. I think DePippo probably wanted to have that one back, but overall, a good game. I think, the positives, you want to focus on the positives early on in the season for sure. And winning at home, you 2 points you never want to take away, as Beauregard tucked that one in to make it 5-1. You never want to take away from a 2-point night, but I think, it's pretty evident there's some stuff that needs to be worked on. And overall, you probably like where the team is at, because I think the mistakes this team made tonight are really easily fixable. You just got to, enough with the stick work. Some of these lazy penalties, some of these penalties that just are totally unnecessary and unforced is really it's just a real discipline thing, and should be a pretty easy remedy for this team. As we take a look at a couple of the final highlights here, a little breakaway and a good save there. DeRosa really did come in and backstop this team, now that I think about it. We did mention it a little bit, and I don't think it was a goaltending issue for Stevenson tonight, as that was the last goal of the game, and you'll see a 5-2 final there. But I think a Stevenson team that probably has some room for improvement. Came in here tonight a little bit flat in the first period. I think it cost them overall for this game, but they really put up a fight in the second, definitely in the third period. But Beacons walk out of here with 2 points.
Well, we know a lot of people have a lot of different things they want to do with their Friday night, but really quickly, let's close it up. Our 3 stars, Matt, I picked these out. I'm sure that you agree with at least 2 of the 3. Had a lot of different opportunities. We already talked to Alyssa DePippo.
Yeah, well, we'll start with the third star. I think, and Beauregard's one of those players that can be a real difference maker. She's got such a heavy shot. You give her a little bit of space, and she really fires the puck well. I'm glad to see her with the third star. Jaden Morrisette probably on the fringe of being that 1 star. Had that bad play at the blue line, took a bad penalty. Be very curious to hear if the refs made it a point to kind of address that moving forward, but still had 2 goals tonight. Did a great job. And then DePippo with a really nice start, her first start of the season with 22 saves, and unfortunately probably had a chance. I think the 2 goals, you look back, probably had a chance at a shutout tonight. The first one she probably wants to have back, I would think, and then that second one, just a bad turnover by Colucci. She didn't have a chance, but a good night for her overall, and definitely made a case to move forward with the starting role.
50 points, 26 now career goals, and the first opening night win, a nice banner night for 3 seniors on this Beacons team. Let's take a look ahead. UMass Boston at Endicott on Tuesday. They open conference play next weekend. 2 winnable games against teams picked behind them in the conference. Everybody but Norwich is behind them, so these are 2 of the better teams. But Plymouth State and Southern Maine next weekend at 4-1. Finally, a big shout out to our production crew. Did a really nice job tonight despite some of our technical difficulties and the fact that you and I are still learning the rosters. My name is Seth Orensky, your producer and play-by-play guy, joined by Matt Meisenbacher, Gigi Braga, and Kelly Danahy directing, Rachel Maslak helping out as well, Kyle Penny, Sarah St. Cyrin, and Jared Colte, your camera operators. One of our quicker post games, I believe. So that'll do it for us here from Boston. We'll be back next week at 4. But remember, you can catch the Beacons on Tuesday night at 7 when they travel to Endicott College looking for a slightly cleaner performance.